I can't believe I believed everything we had was less. We young and naive of me to think she was from your past. Silly of me to dream of one day having your kids. Love is so blind, it feels right when it's wrong. I can't believe I fell for your schemes. I'm smarter than that. Young and naive to believe that with me you're a changed man. Foolish of me to compete when you cheat with who's swimming. It took me some time, but now I'm moved on. Because I realize I got myself and that's all I got in the end. That's what I found out. And it ain't no need to cry. I took a vow that from now on I'm gonna be my own best friend. Be myself and that's all I got in the end. That's what I found out. And it ain't no need to cry. I took a vow that from now on I'm gonna be my own best friend. Controlling, you say that you love me, but you don't. Your family told me one day I would see it on my own. Next thing I know, I'm dealing with the 3 kids in my own. Love is so blind, it feels right when it's wrong. Now that it's over, stop calling me, come pick up your clothes. Ain't no need to front like you're still with me. All your homies know, even your very best friend tried to warn me on the low. Took me some time, but now I am strong. Because I realize I got myself and that's all I got in the end. That's what I found out. And it ain't no need to cry. I took a vow that from now on I'm gonna be my own best friend. Be myself and that's all I got in the end. That's what I found out. And it ain't no need to cry. I took a vow that from now on I'm gonna be my own best friend. Got me, myself, and I know that I will never disappoint myself. All the ladies, if you feel me, help me sing it out. Yeah, you heard me, but I learned a lot along the way. After all the rain, you'll see the sun come out again. Hey, I know that I will never disappoint myself. I'm crying. All the ladies, if you feel me, help me sing it out. Hey, you heard me, but I learned a lot along the way. After all the rain, you'll see the sun come out again. Myself and that's all I got in the end. That's what I found out. And it ain't no need to cry. I took a vow that from now on I'm gonna be my own best friend. Be myself and that's all I got in the end. That's what I found out. And it ain't no need to cry. I took a vow that from now on I'm gonna be my own best friend. I can't believe I believed everything we had was less. We young and naive of me to think she was from your past. Silly of me to dream of one day having your kids. Love is so blind, it feels right when it's wrong. I can't believe I fell for your schemes. I'm smarter than that. Young and naive to believe that with me you're a changed man. Foolish of me to compete when you cheat with who's swimming. It took me some time, but now I'm moved on. Because I realize I got myself and that's all I got in the end. That's what I found out. And it ain't no need to cry. I took a vow that from now on I'm gonna be my own best friend. Be myself and that's all I got in the end. That's what I found out. And it ain't no need to cry. I took a vow that from now on I'm gonna be my own best friend. Controlling, you say that you love me, but you don't. Your family told me one day I would see it on my own. Next thing I know, I'm dealing with the 3 kids in my own. Love is so blind, it feels right when it's wrong. Now that it's over, stop calling me, come pick up your clothes. Ain't no need to front like you're still with me. All your homies know, even your very best friend tried to warn me on the low. Took me some time, but now I am strong. myself, and I. That's all I got in the end. That's what I found out, and it ain't no need to cry. I took a vow that from now on I'm gonna be my own best friend. Got me, myself, and I know that I will never disappoint myself. All the ladies, if you feel me, help me sing it out. I'm spending with you. Yeah, you hurt me, but I learned a lot along the way. After all the rain, you'll see the sun come out again. Hey, I know that I will never disappoint myself. I'm crying. All the ladies, if you feel me, help me sing it out. I'm spending. You heard me, but I learned a lot along the way. After all the rain, you'll see the sun come out again. I beat myself and I. That's all I got in the end. That's what I found out, and it ain't no need to cry. I took a vow that from now on I'm gonna be my own best friend. Beat myself and I. That's all I got in the end. That's what I found out, and it ain't no need to cry. I took a vow that from now on I'm gonna be my own best friend. I can't believe I believed everything we had was less. We young and naive of me to think she was from your past. Silly of me to dream of one day having your kids. Love is so blind, it feels right when it's wrong. I can't believe I fell for your schemes. I'm smarter than that. I'm naive to believe that with me you're a changed man. Foolish of me to compete when you cheat with who's winning. It took me some time, but now I'm moved on. Because I realize I got myself and I. That's all I got in the end. That's what I found out, and it ain't no need to cry. I took a vow that from now on I'm gonna be my own best friend. Beat myself and I. That's all I got in the end. That's what I found out, and it ain't no need to cry. I took a vow that from now on I'm gonna be my own best friend. Controlling and you say that you love me, but you don't. Your family told me one day I would see it on my own. Next thing I know, I'm dealing with your 3 kids in my own. Love is so blind, it feels right when it's wrong. Now that it's over, stop calling me. Come pick up your clothes. Ain't no need to front like you're still with me. All your homies know. Even your very best friend tried to warn me on the low. Took me some time, but now I am strong. Because I realize I got myself and I. That's all I got in the end. That's what I found out, and it ain't no need to cry. I took a vow that from now on I'm gonna be my own best friend. Beat myself and I. That's all I got in the end. That's what I found out, and it ain't no need to cry. I took a vow that from now on I'm gonna be my own best friend. Got me, myself, and I. I know that I will never disappoint myself. All the ladies, if you feel me, help me sing it out. I'm spending with you. Yeah, you hurt me, but I learned a lot along the way. After all the rain, you'll see the sun come out again. I know that I will never disappoint myself. I'm crying. All the ladies, if you feel me, help me sing it out. I'm spending. You heard me, but I learned a
Good morning, people. Somebody please let me know if you guys can hear me okay. I need to find my microphone. I can't find it. Hi, y'all. Hi, people. Good morning. I need some background music. Just want to make sure that I sound okay. I'm turning my volume up. Heard. Hi, Lauren Mack. Hi, Renee. Hi, Cynical One. Hi, Michael Thomas. I feel like you're new here. Hi. How you doing? Brandon. Hi, Stanley. Vina. Just I love when you call me Vina. Here for the tea. If you want to come up here, let me know. I don't think I ever like had you on, and I know like how you feel about the FBA stuff too. So if you want to come up, let me know. Look at my picture, T. I was trying to do what you and your sister do, which is like she taught me how to populate the whole image with my image, but you can't crop it. It does it for you, and it's not like centering my face. So I don't know. I don't know what to do about that, but maybe Mo can help me figure it out later. Anyway, how y'all doing this morning? I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Just got something on my mind real quick because I was roaming around early this morning on the YouTube streets, okay, and I was listening to Nightish, and he was kind of criticizing the FBA movement, and y'all know how I feel about that, okay. So I have an issue with like other quote unquote FBA heavily criticizing FBA or like having an issue because I feel like you don't have to necessarily agree, but these are the same people who say that they're about unity, right? They're about unity and they feel like FBA is divisive, but then the next words out of their mouth is going to be something that's disparaging Black Americans. So if you're about unity, why are you disparaging your own? That's something that never made sense to me. I don't understand that. And I also don't understand why it's a problem for foundational Black Americans to want to carve out their own identity that is unique to us, because isn't one of the main criticisms um across the diaspora actually is that Black Americans don't have an identity. You don't know who you are. You don't have a culture, right? So the minute I think that's interesting that the same people who would say that have an issue when you decide to do just that and focus on your own culture and your own identity. Why is that a problem? I have friends from many different countries or islands, whatever you want to call it. I have Jamaican friends, I have Trinidadian friends, I have friends from Haiti, Guyana, Grenada, where else? St. Lucia. Like I live in y'all know New York is like very versatile and a very popular state for immigrants to come to. So I'm around a lot of these people, right? Grew up with a lot of these people, went to school with a lot of these people, and some of them are my friends, some of them are my clients. I don't have an issue with them. So, but here's the thing. If my Jamaican friends take a lot of pride in where they come from, right? They take a lot of pride in their culture. They take a lot of pride in their identity, and they take a lot of pride in their exclusivity, right? Meaning I couldn't come over there and just say I'm Jamaican. That's not going to work for them, right? And I support that. I think they should take pride in their culture, their music, their food, their contribution to pop culture, their unique dancing. I think that's normal to do. I think that's normal for any group to do. I'm trying to understand why once Black Americans start doing it, all of a sudden it becomes problematic. No one has seemed to be able to answer that question for me. Um, I don't wish bad on anybody in the diaspora, anybody from any other country, and I support them taking pride in who they are and taking pride in their culture. I support that. Why don't FBAs get supported when they want to do the same thing? That's all I want to know. And why are quote unquote FBAs the first ones jumping up to disparage their own? That's what I don't understand that. Because again, like when you hear some of the criticisms about the FBA, one of the main things is we are divisive. But then the people who are screaming unity after that divisive sentence, they're going to talk crazy shit about Black Americans. So, how much about unity are you? And this is the issue. Um, I think obviously it would be great if the Black people across the globe would be together and get on one accord because we all have been affected by some level of colonialism, oppression, systemic oppression, all types of things. Like, I think I can acknowledge that we've all had our own individual issues, right? If we got together, we would be able to create powerful change. I truly believe that. I don't disagree with that. The problem for FBA is we were the only ones thinking that way. That was the problem. I don't understand why everyone's pretending not to see that. I didn't have any negative thoughts about Africa in my head as a child. The only bad thing I saw was like, oh, they spread a lot of propaganda here and painted Africa out to be some place where just all the kids are starving, right? That's the only thing I was seeing, but we didn't walk around with a negative view on Africans or any other group because if you look at like all of the film and media that black people have put out throughout the 90s, early 2000s, all of those black movies, a lot of the time they try to incorporate what they would call the woke or conscious brother who would always be dressed in like his African garb and he would always be talking about we need to go back to the motherland. In all of our film, Africa was always presented as a positive place that we needed to go back to, right? So that was the consensus for the most part of Black Americans. We didn't have any negative view on them. We found out later, though, that those sentiments were not shared across the diaspora, right? So when we start getting into some of the things that their opinions on us, they were very anti-black, right? They were very Black Americans are lazy, Black Americans are on welfare, Black Americans are uneducated, Black Americans complain too much, they're this, they're that, right? Once we started becoming privy to the difference in ideologies, then it was like, oh, we are not on the same accord, right? Right. INC said I was never taught by anyone to hate anyone else. That's the thing. So we were kind of oblivious and naive to the fact that no, other groups were definitely being taught to hate us. And I mean strategically, right? And one of the main things is this. Black Americans typically have a perspective of black first. Um Black immigrants have a perspective of I'm an immigrant first. I'm whatever I come from second and I'm black third. This is just a fact, right? This is why when they come here, the number one priority is assimilating to whiteness. And for self-preservation reasons, I don't even have a problem with that. That's fine. You want to adapt to what you view to be the most successful part of the society. That makes sense for survival reasons. The only issue I have is you don't have to be anti-black in order for you to assimilate to whiteness. You don't have to be anti-black, right? But what we found was a lot of them that was like built in the starter pack. Like I'm going to assimilate to whiteness, therefore I am going to have anti-black rhetoric. One of the main ones is reparations, right? When black Americans talk about reparations, most of the people who are in direct disagreement with that are non-black Americans, right? Or descendants of non-black Americans, like people from other countries. And obviously, main reason being is they won't be able to get any. So that just makes sense, right? So this is where you actually become a problem for us in real life, right? It goes beyond a conversation. If we are all being grouped as one, we're all being grouped as Black Americans, but then you have a set of them who are directly going against our political agendas, you become a problem and a hindrance and an obstacle, right? It's actually, it really has like real life effects on what we're trying to accomplish. So no one should be upset with Black Americans for wanting to just have carve out their own identity and focus on themselves. Because listen, I agree. If we could all unite, that would be great. Okay. But first and foremost, Black Americans need to unite about something. You want to speak and then they want to come argue with you. So, one of the reasons FBA, okay, I've been seeing FBA get labeled a hate group, xenophobic, all of that. But it's like, yo, Jamaicans are allowed to say they're Jamaican, and I support it. They have their own culture, right? Trinidadians are allowed to say they're Trinidadian, and I support it. They have their own culture, their own history, their own struggles, their own music, their own food, their own everything, and that's fine. We should support that. FBA, though, everyone feels entitled to our culture, and that is the problem. It's just a matter of respect or lack thereof. So one of the reasons FBA wanted to delineate, um, sorry, y'all, one second. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, FBA see themselves as a distinct lineage, which we are, right? Which you all are as well. You have your own lineage, which means descendants of the African enslaved in the United States. Although some people believe they're indigenous to the land as well. Cool, great. What I know about my history is our ancestors built the nation's wealth through centuries, right? Heavy on centuries of unpaid labor, only to be denied generational advancement. Okay. The term foundational emphasizes that Black Americans are the literal foundation of the country's economic, cultural, and political infrastructure. Despite this, their specific history and contributions have been erased, lumped together with all Black identities, diluting the unique legacy of U.S. slavery, Jim Crow, and civil rights struggle. Um, this was is another problem. I notice when people mention slavery for the purposes of reparations, people from the diaspora will say, "We were slaves too. We were slaves too." What they seem to either play obtuse about, or they're intentionally just not, or they're not getting it, is you have to take that up with the government that enslaved you the same way we're trying to take it up with the government that enslaved us. That's the point. So when you want to like hijack the movement and then try to like minimize us to talk about what you went through somewhere else, that's unfortunate, but that's a battle you have to fight with that somewhere else. You shouldn't step in our way because it really has nothing to do. The crazy thing about that is it has nothing to do with you. That is an issue between foundational Black Americans and the United States government. Anybody outside of that group really shouldn't have anything to say. So the delineage became a way to reclaim ownership of our identity, the same way Caribbeans do. Afro Latinas, Afro Caribbean, they take pride in their ethnic and national heritage, and they should. I just want to make that very clear. I support that. They should. But so should my people. Okay? A lot of FBA feel like they've been looked down on by some Black immigrants who arrived in America and adopted very negative stereotypes about Black Americans from white from white media before ever meeting them. We all know this is true. I have Caribbean friends. We've heard people come on the internet and say, they'll admit it. This is what I was told by my parents. This is what I was told. This is the kind of propaganda they spread over there about you all. And then when they come over and Black Americans, they see y'all doing some of this shit, it just starts to make sense for them to believe all of these negative stereotypes, right? So, like, I noticed that people who are not foundational Black Americans, when they talk about themselves, they're hardworking, they're more disciplined, they're educated, they're this, they're that. Cool. But when they talk about you, they're gonna call you lazy, entitled, ungrateful, right? Which is like internalized anti-black racism. Certain immigrants have even there's clips of them referring to FBA as ghetto, uneducated, unfocused. You don't know who you are. You guys don't have a culture. But the messed up thing about that is you're profiting from the progress FBA fought and died for, right? So that's where it creates like a point of contention and causes FBA to start to harbor resentment toward you because a lot of Black immigrants benefit from rights, policies, affirmative action won through the blood of FBA ancestors, yet show limited solidarity in return. There's no respect. There's no viewing us all as we're one big family. There's none of that going on. So, for the FBA who get mad at other FBA, I'm trying to understand how are you mad at us for trying just to simply do what everybody else is doing? Everyone else is like on some tribal stuff, even though they may not be directly announcing it, they absolutely are. Everyone else is worried about their own first, which they should. I think a lot of FBA, we've been so indoctrinated, we see something wrong now with simply wanting to come together and prioritize ourselves. That's insane. But then they're gonna call us the brainwashed ones. No, you're the brain. Why wouldn't you want to come together with your own first and prioritize yourselves first? That doesn't make you anti-Africa or anti-Caribbean or anti anything else. It just makes you pro you. Why is that a problem? You guys don't think that the fact that you yourselves have an issue with that might be a result of systemic racism? You guys are taking on the perspectives of white supremacy. You don't even view Black people, Black American people, as a people who have a right to delineate, have a right to carve out their own identity, have a right to prioritize themselves and focus on their own agendas and their own. How are you a part of that culture and have a problem with that? If you get into why FBA feels the need to do this, it's not simply for conversation's sake, right? A lot of political movements, a lot of our agendas, again, these people step in the way of, and from the outside looking in, that weakens our cause because you can't tell the difference. You just think, oh no, but there's some Black people, they don't care about reparations, or they not this, they not that. And you're not knowing some of those Black people are not the kind of Black people we are. So that kind of drowns our voice out because you can now lean toward whatever side of the fence you want for a justification. Like, nah, Black people don't even care about that. No, that's not true. Non-FBA are the people who don't care about that. And when we speak about our specific issues, again, with our government, that things that they've done to hinder, oppress, disenfranchise my community, you're stepping in the way and trying to make it a general Black issue. We were enslaved too. We went through this too. Yeah, again, take that up with the government who did it to you. But don't step in the way while we're trying to talk to the government that did it to us. Why is this not like this is a very easy thing to understand? This is not anti-diaspora. This is not anti-Caribbean. This is not, we don't hate them. We don't wish any bad on them. I have friends from a lot of these places. It's never that. I would never impose myself on any Caribbean person or any African person in terms of how they want to deal with their government in response to an injustice that they felt as a people. I don't think that would be respecting their culture. See the point? That wouldn't be respectful for me to go to Jamaica and then tell them they're not allowed to have the issues they have with the government who did what it did to them. That's not respectful. That's not my place. That's not my land. My people ain't build shit there. My people, that's not, it doesn't make sense. So the issue is not with immigrants existing, it's the fact that sometimes their voices are platformed above those who have lived generations of systemic oppression in America. And it would be a platform above ours because they're saying the things that are in direct agreement with white supremacy. So, yeah, they can be useful tools to minimize our agendas, our issues, and they are being used for that. But like everyone's playing dumb. Um, yeah, Myri, we could never go to their country and speak for them. And I don't think we should. That's the thing. I think FBA understands our place. We know, like, that's not my place. That wouldn't even be right to do. I would never step in the way of that. But you're stepping in the way over here. Nadij, I hope I said that right, says some FBA only see other ethnicities needing specific agendas. Their judgment seems to be clouded by the interracial relationships that they desire or want to obtain. Let's talk about that. Another problem against the FBA, like title of the show, FBA versus FBA, is our own people. A lot of the people who either have relationships with people outside of FBA, right, or they desire to, they won't even get on board with us because they don't understand, like, political wise it actually is beneficial for a greater good. They're worried about their sexual desires more than their people, right? So because they desire to be with other groups, they will kind of go against the entirety of their whole, all of the Black Americans, pretend not to understand any of our agendas or what we're saying simply because they want to have sex or be with people from other places, right? It's very selfish and it's detrimental. Um, INC says, I don't care about money or getting anything. I just want to know who my people are in general. It's not political to me or about money for me. I mean, it's all the above for me. It is political. Everything else is political. The things that happen against us are political. What you mean? Systemic? We're the only ones thinking that. It's not. It absolutely is. And these other groups know it too. I feel like in this country, politics are how most things happen. Low key, I think Black people need to be more concerned with politics, to be honest. And that's something I'm just recently learning. Renee said everything is political facts. Hey, Mel. Also, in terms of the disrespect, like when it comes to just telling us we don't have a culture, I'd never go to any of their homelands and say no shit like that. See what I'm saying? Like it's just a blatant lack of respect and disregard for anything that Black Americans try to have, right? So according to everybody else, we can't even have a culture. We try to delineate, we can't even have that. It's like, why does everyone else feel so entitled to the Black American and how we choose to exist? That's a question you guys really need to ask the next time somebody outside of the group tells you what culture you don't have, what rights you shouldn't or you don't have, what, like when they're, because I don't have the time, energy, or neither do I care enough to go focus on what these other groups are fighting for just to go tell them how much they don't deserve it. I just don't. Um, INC says, I think if we live on our own and stand on our own, you automatically get respect from everyone else. I think being divided leaves room for disrespect. Oh shoot, hold on, y'all. Mel says having to explain that to them is frustrating. It should be common sense. That's why I'm understanding that a lot of these arguments are um willful, people being willfully obtuse. Sorry, y'all. Give me 1 second. I gotta get something. Sorry, I had to plug my laptop in. It's about to die. Okay. Yeah, no, I believe at this point everyone's doing this willfully obtuse thing, and unfortunately, it used to work, but they done dragged it in the ground. Like nobody's falling for the willfully obtuse bullshit no more. Um, I was going through that this morning. Shout out to Nightish. I love Nightish, but he was on some bullshit. And this is what it looks like. That conversation I had with Nitish this morning. You will lay out some simple, plain, easy to understand facts, and people will respond to you, but they won't directly address the words you're saying. What people like to do, especially on these YouTube sectors, I like over here, I notice they like to respond and just insert a bunch of random truths, right? So they'll just spew out a bunch of truth. The problem is that truth has nothing to do with what I'm currently speaking about. It is a deflection tactic to directly not address what you're saying, but then win the audience over and confuse everybody because they start going, well, that's true. Well, that's true. Well, yeah, sure, that's great. The sky is blue. Water is wet. What does that have to do with what I just said? Nothing. This part too, my read. She says the problem is we're fighting publicly, so it leaves room for opinions from others. This is my issue with Black people. You guys are handing these talking points over to these people who are anti-Black, and you don't understand that. When you get up and you want to disparage Black Americans and you want to do that in defense of these people, all they do is take that into their inventory and then they use it against your people. But you're about unity, but you're helping actually, you're helping them disparage you. When it's bad, it's Black. When it's good, it's ethnicity. So I don't know. People are more concerned with either wanting to date or marry outside of their own. So they're gonna take these harsh perspectives because they're selfish. They don't care about the community, they don't care about us as a whole. They're Black Americans have successfully been brainwashed into being individualistic without understanding the same people who brainwashed you to be that way are not that way. They're using their power in politics, power in numbers, group economics, everything that requires working together. And to put you at a disadvantage, to put themselves at an advantage, and then brainwashing you into thinking that somehow you're an individual. Pam Mulattoism says call ICE on Africans and Caribbeans. That's the thing. I would never do that. I would never do that. I don't not want them around. Like that ain't me. I think that's extreme. But I seen this morning, O'Shea Duke Jackson actually had dropped a video kind of like exactly on what I'm talking about. So I want to react to that real quick. I'm not gonna be here so long. Let me find it. But yeah, I don't think you should be calling ICE on people. That's a lot. Nobody's trying to put people back in messed up situations. Nobody's trying to do that. I don't have timestamps, so unfortunately, we're gonna have to sit through some of this BS. Hold on, y'all. Mulatto said there are literally zero majority Black American communities in New York City because you refuse to call ICE. Well, I'm not calling ICE. I can't do that. I'm not doing that. Like I said, I grew up with some of these people. Some of these people are my friends. I'm not doing that. I can have a difference in ideology without wanting to see you in a bad situation. Like that's something different. I'm not doing that.
As it affects the Black world, and that is Pan-Africanism a scam? And its ideology, Pan-Africanism is not a scam. It's actually one of the greatest things that can benefit the Black world. But on the other hand, its functionality is trash, which is why I referred to it as not just Pan-Africanism, but Pan-Scamming. And a colleague of mine in the Pan-African YouTube community has come out to rebut some of my ideas, and Tariq Nasheed as well.
And all that tribalism that people like FBA talk about and ADOS, that's ethno-nationalism. FBA is a ethno-nationalistic movement.
See, statements like that are problematic, right? Because now you're like kind of putting us out to be like some low-key racist movement, and that's not what that is.
Just like those East Africans who are ethno-nationalist, meaning they're nationalists to their ethnicity, meaning they only care about their ethnicity. They don't care about their race. They care about their ethnicity. They're tribalist.
Now, in this particular case, he's not calling out Tariq Nasheed by name, but he is calling out #FBAs. He argues that Black Americans, are those who consider themselves #FBAs, do not care about the race of people, but instead we care about our own ethnicity. In other words, we are not concerned about what happens worldwide with blacks, but now we're only concerned with ourselves. Now, here's an issue that I have with Afro Think Tank here. There has been times where Black Americans, or at least people in America, cared a lot about the issues of Africa.
You go to Nigeria, which is, if not the most corrupt nation in Africa, and it could be the most corrupt nation in the world, Minister Farrakhan.
Oh, now, Mr. Wallace.
It is the most corrupt nation that I have ever covered. I've been there 25 years ago, and I've been there as recently as last year.
Fine.
Now, in this case, the legendary Mike Wallace is saying that Nigeria is the most corrupt nation on planet Earth. But Louis Farrakhan, who had just did the Million Man March prior to that, responds to his claims.
So what? 35 years old. That's what that nation is. Now, here's America, 226 years old. You love democracy, but there in Africa, you're trying to force these people into a system of government that you just have accepted. 30 years ago, black folk got the right to vote. You're not in any moral position to tell anybody how corrupt they are. You should be quiet and let those of us who know our people go there and help them get out of that condition. But America should keep her mouth shut wherever there's a corrupt regime, as much hell as America has raised on the earth.
Louis.
This is a very common American practice, okay? Like, it's like how they turn the Black community into the most degenerate, the most criminalistic, the most horrible, dirty, terrible people on the planet. But if we get into who that truly is, we get into colonialism, racism, just all the terrible things these people have done on a global scale. Everyone would know that's not true. But so this is very typical of white people. It's like built, I don't know what, it's just built in, or it's just a part of like the agenda to kind of always push this narrative like they're innocent and everybody else is just horrible. This is normal for them.
Farrakhan shut Mike Wallace completely down in front of the entire nation on 60 Minutes. And so many people in Black America was rooting for Louis Farrakhan because he took the side of Nigeria. Louis Farrakhan didn't agree. He could have agreed with Mike Wallace, but he didn't. And the reason why he didn't, because in the 90s, that was the Black American stance with Africa.
And I just want to say this because I know people know Louis Farrakhan's mom is from the Caribbean. His dad is from New York. He's FBA. If you have a parent who's FBA, you're FBA. Okay, just want to put that out there.
80s, when Nelson Mandela got out of prison and basically took over the ANC, Black Americans were some of the biggest supporters of the ANC and of Nelson Mandela. And Nelson Mandela rewarded Black Americans. There's actually a documentary right here on YouTube called Blacks Without Borders, Chasing the American Dream in South Africa, where you have Black Americans contributing a lot to the economy because our communities were closer back then.
So O'Shea Duke Jackson is getting to what caused this division between us and the diaspora because, like I said earlier, we didn't grow up with any negative feelings or thoughts or ideas toward any of these other countries or islands. We did not. Something took place and now we're here, unfortunately, but that was not the general consensus from us. So he's showing this to show that up until recently, we were all for uniting. We kind of got blindsided and realized like, oh, nah, when you ask them about us, it's a whole different thing, right? But initially, we were all for it. And I think we still are. I would love that. I just think until like there has to be a level of respect and acknowledgement first. Because how are you going to unite with people that you can't trust? Like if people look down on you, to think you're uneducated, you're lazy, you're stupid, you're entitled, and they politically align themselves with things that are directly harmful to you, how are you going to unite with that? And you can't.
What changed, Afro Think Tank?
The same FBA be talking about, that's what they do. Because FBA is a group of African Americans that don't care about black people globally. They don't care about their race. They only care about their specific group of North American Africans that's in America. That's the only thing they care about.
I don't believe that. That's why I'm in the chat telling INC I'm never calling ICE. That's not happening. Never calling ICE. I don't care. I can disagree with these people, but I understand they're black people. I wouldn't want to see them go back to environments where they can't eat or they can't make a living for themselves or any of that. It is not that deep. So no, I don't agree with that. It's not that we don't care about people from different parts of the diaspora, is that we deserve a certain level of respect and acknowledgement. And everyone has this criticism that black people don't have a culture. So here we are trying to carve out our own identity, and now everybody got a fucking problem. Why? Let us do that. What's the problem? So no, being pro yourself doesn't mean you're anti somebody else.
That's their priority.
He argues here the priority for foundational black Americans.
It's called self-preservation, which is what all of these other groups have been practicing. So yeah, black Americans should prioritize black Americans the same way everybody else is going to prioritize themselves. What's the problem?
It's each other and not anybody else. Technically, he's right. Those black Americans or African Americans who consider themselves #FBA, this is their priority. But from what I have shown you, that has not always been the priority. We see evidence that at a particular time, it was not this way. And I want to use Tariq Nasheed as an example. He also was not that way.
I've been all over Africa. Show me single parenthood in Africa today. You don't have a bunch of single mothers running around having babies just to be having them, or teen mothers in Africa, unless it's like a war-torn country. You don't have that. You don't have a bunch of incest going on over there in Africa. Go back into ancient Africa, especially West Africa. You didn't have dudes raping each other. You didn't have that. A lot of the stuff that we pick up, we got directly from being victimized by the white supremacists.
That part. So even, this is the point, something occurred that made black Americans start to shift their perspective. Black Americans, for the most part, were in support of the diaspora. So he's just showing the proof, like, this is not like some hate group. We just woke up one day, we want to hate everybody. Some things took place to open our eyes, and then we understood, oh, well, the unity we think we have with these people, we do not. The brotherhood, the sisterhood we think we have with these people, they don't feel that way. Not only do they not feel that way, because feelings are fine, but they will participate in things that are harmful toward you and helpful toward white supremacy. Why? Because they don't view themselves as you. That's why it's an issue. Think about this, who were in support of Donald Trump the most? Latin people, right? You want to unite with them? Look how it's working out for them. Like, nobody's just trying to be mean. When you get into politically and things that have a direct effect on everybody, what some of these non-FBA people are in support of, how are you going to unify with that? They stand for things that are directly against you. They perpetuate negative stereotypes and drive harmful rhetoric against you. So I would love to be able to unify with everybody. But I said this before, if we get into who the loudest voices are, just on YouTube or social media right now, the loudest voices when it comes to black people are the most anti-black, right? What's his name? Myron Gaines? Very large. What does his rhetoric sound like? Tommy Sotomayor, very large. What does his rhetoric sound like? You get into a lot of these content creators and you start getting into their lineage, you're gonna find some commonalities. The people who make it their business to down talk on Black Americans the most are not FBA. And before this delineation, people were not understanding that. We're starting to see a trend. These people are very anti-you. Okay? But you're arguing with us about being pro us in support of them who is anti-you.
That's a fact. Even our eating habits. Look at if you go back in history, Africans were the healthiest people on the planet.
Now, Tariq Nasheed is giving Africa props. He's talking about the things that he sees that are beneficial in Africa that he doesn't see here. And largely, there are many things that I can agree with him.
So I don't want to spread rumors. Somebody said it's Tommy not FBA. It was somehow, I don't know where I heard this from, that he might have some Panamanian lineage. That could be wrong. So I don't want to lie on that man. But if we look at the people who are, for the most part, because there are just some FBA who are just straight up like they don't like their own. But if we look at the people who have the biggest voices and they appear to be Black, but their rhetoric is very anti-Black, their rhetoric is very similar to white supremacist talking points, people who make content that is hyper focused on over exaggerating every negative thing about Black Americans. They even exaggerate statistics. They'll tell you half truths. They'll acknowledge everything wrong with Black people, every negative action of Black people, but they will not acknowledge anything the government or white supremacy has done to kind of cause some of these issues. They'll play stupid, they'll play obtuse, they'll call you a victim. So it's like they got a hyper focus on your reaction to a problem, but zero focus to what caused the root cause of the problem. See what I'm saying? And that's just not fair. That's not an honest conversation. I'm a Black American. I wouldn't want to do that to a Black American. So you guys got to pay attention to who's doing that. And now that it's this hyper focus on delineating, please believe people are going to lie to you about their lineage. People are going to lie. These people have no shame in lying. They will tell you they're American. They will tell you they're from here when they're not, because now they know there's like a hyper focus on that. And so they want to blend in. They want to go under the radar. Just saying.
Come on, especially when it comes to the family setting. Yeah, there's a lot of things that Africa does right, to be honest. But then how did Tariq Nasheed go from that to this?
People are desperate with trying to force us to identify as an African. Now, racially, we're African people, racially. Ethnically, we are a different group. Ethnically, we're foundational Black Americans.
Now, and
so yeah, I want to read this comment because yeah, this is what I'm trying to get these so-called FBA people who are against the movement to understand exactly what you just wrote in your comment. 1 second. Renee says when Black people center and celebrate themselves, it threatens the old power structure that depends on their devaluation. So self-love and pride are wrongly seen as defiance instead of normal respects. Hello, thank you. Because I'm again, every other ethnic group is allowed to take pride in oneself, one's culture, but us. It's this Black entitlement that everyone has to the Black culture. Hit that like button, everybody. Venus needs YouTube Premium. Sure do. Look at my Cash App floating on the bottom. Hit that thing if y'all like. Cause y'all keep saying y'all like the titles lately. Y'all like the conversations lately, but the support ain't matching what y'all claim. I'm just saying something ain't sounding right.
In this case, Tariq Nasheed is still arguing that he has ancestrally African DNA, but he also argues for something different.
And that's me too. I'm not one of them FBA that's so far gone that I don't think I have African DNA. Obviously, I do. I know we have some extreme ones who they like, look, I'm not acknowledging shit. If you can't show me on paper, I get it, but no, I'm not there. I'm not that far gone.
I acknowledge my African racial inherent DNA and the connection I have with other African descended people globally. We have a connection as far as intrinsic race and biology. So I acknowledge that. No problem with that. When I travel to Africa or any other place where there are Black people, I see a commonality with that. But we're also a people who have a very unique ethnic background, and that's us being foundational Black Americans. That goes just beyond the skin tone.
The argument that he has is, while we are genetically the same, and when I do feel drawn to certain Blacks, when I see them, we are a different ethnic group. Now, it's always been the case that we are a different ethnic group, but now there is a difference. And that difference is what you consider delineation. In the last 8 to 9 years, Tariq Nasheed has been pushing for this level of delineation from the Black world. And many people have accused him of grifting. And to be honest, I could see that before. But to be honest, I'm gonna tell you why I don't think that anymore. Number one, if Tariq Nasheed wanted to be a grifter, it was much easier to do that under the umbrella of Pan-Africanism. Why not talk about a message that everybody else is talking about, and then you could extend your influence to all over the world? I mean, he could be in Nigeria, he could be in South Africa, he could produce his films here in America, and he wouldn't just be alienating himself to one community. So for him to push delineation, it actually hurts him monetarily, because to be in the quote unquote Pan-Africanism is actually extending his market. But what he has noticed, and he's not the only one, he's gonna argue 4 points. Number one, Pan-Africanism is one-sided or unbalanced. This is largely true, okay? Even in times where I didn't want to come out and all the way say this, but it's absolutely true. Pan-Africanism does not serve the interests of Black Americans in the United States. In other words, Pan-Africanism is the monetary backbone of funding what happens in Africa. The Pan-African initiatives focus on the African continent broadly, but do not sufficiently include or benefit the diaspora in tangible ways. This is largely true and cannot be denied. And this is the issue with somebody like Afro Think Tank, who he's talking about the symptoms of the issue. Afro Think Tank describes the attitude of these Black Americans, or hashtag FBA, as to why they're feeling this way. We talk about the one-sided or unbalanced ideologies of Pan-Africanism in practice. It's hard to overcome. It is one-sided, and I'm a person that's in the Pan-African community, and I can tell you it's definitely one-sided. Now, it is getting a little bit better, but it's also costing Black Americans a lot more. And Pan-Africanism comes at a greater cost for Black Americans. For example, whenever you talk to Black Americans about Africa, you always hear this: oh, you need to come back to your roots. You need to come back home. What that tells a Black American psychologically is what they know about themselves now is not really them.
So yeah, I want to focus on that too. A lot of the Pan-Africanist agendas, initiatives, Pan-Africanism are beneficial to Africa, which is fine, but where are the benefits to the Black Americans? See what I'm saying? Like, a lot of it is one-sided when you really get into it. And let me rewind, because I like what he's saying about identity, right? Which, again, everyone's biggest criticism of Black Americans: you have no identity, you have no culture. So then why, the minute we decide to carve out our very specific, our very own identity, everybody across the diaspora is offended? What's the problem? Didn't y'all say we don't have an identity, we don't have a culture? What's the issue?
You need to come back to your roots. You need to come back home. What that tells a Black American psychologically is what they know about themselves now is not really them. You need to get in contact with your true self, which is Africa, in which you'll really be home and you'll really understand who you are. In other words, who you are now is fake. And so that creates a level of self-doubt. So Africans who are already into Africa, they are the true Africans, and they don't need to find out who they are but you need to find out who you are. So
can we all be honest? Have we all heard that before? We've even all agreed with it. Like I said, growing up, all of the film I've seen from Black people, what it was always this message being pushed of back to the motherland, right? Like we belong to this place, we need to go back there, we need to go back to our natural roots, right? Which I didn't disagree. I understood what it was, but he's not wrong. It is very one-sided. It's very much you guys don't know who you are. Okay, you don't know where you come from, you don't have a culture, you don't have this. It's very much hyper focused on scarcity, lack, and negativity when it comes to the Black American, but very focused on like positive, this is our home, this is motherland, this is, you know, our connection, these are the true Africans. And so it's positive, right, when it comes to the diaspora, but it's negative when it comes to us. No one includes the positive benefits that people across the diaspora get to have access to now because of Black Americans, right? Nobody mentions that they're actually going to come here, take those benefits, and a lot of them will disrespect you and help white supremacy continue to spread propaganda that is harmful to you as a group at the same time. So while you're trying to help them, they're trying to, a lot of them, not all, of course, not all, but a lot of them, even if by accident, even if they don't mean to, but getting up on platforms perpetuating negative stereotypes, negative propaganda about Black Americans is actually harmful to them, for real. And so if you're participating in that, how are we to want to unify with you? Or why are other FBA getting mad at us as if we're causing separation? Why are you not understanding they were never with you? They're not with you.
it automatically pushes you in a situation where you must be immersed in with them. But this doesn't happen for other Africans on the continent. When you see Eritreans in Uganda, or certain Somalians in East Africa, they already know who they are, so that can't be beat with them or used against them as leverage. But this tactic is always used on Black Americans as leverage, and it costs Black Americans a lot of money, and it also stresses Black Americans mentally. We need to go back to our motherland where we feel that we are home, but in actuality, you're not going to be treated as if you are home. And it forces you to cover territory that Africans don't have to cover. You have to invest on getting to know who you are, because you're somewhere looking for your lost father. You're somewhere looking for your lost mother, even though your lost father or your lost mother is the one that sold you.
Damn it.
Why?
One day. Y'all better stop talking about me. I got a couple of cash outs. I want to say thank you really fast to the ladies. I love y'all. Thank you, Lena Love, my boo, always showing support. Thank you to Hope for the cash app. I appreciate you. Yes, be like the people in the chat. Y'all saying y'all love the topics, right? Because I heard the complaints. Okay. Everybody was like, oh, all the sector does is have DMP conversations. It's redundant, which I agree with y'all. This shit is beat like a dead horse at this point. So I do agree that, you know, it's just a lot of the conversations were becoming redundant and repetitive. And the thing is, I believe relationship topics can still be a thing. DMP conversations can still be a thing. But the reason they're repetitive and redundant is because people are not being honest. So the conversations become circular because men still want to argue about why it's not their fault that they can't put a condom on their own damn penis, right? So you end up having these circular arguments with people who are just not being honest. So it's keeping you stuck in this like loop of nonsense. And I'm personally over it. I don't want to waste my time talking to people who don't want to acknowledge simple truth. It's not productive. That's why the conversations are not moving forward. Now, I believe the DMP conversations could have evolved if people were being genuine and had good intentions. They don't. They have financial intentions. They have entertainment intentions. So it's profitable to play dumb and say a bunch of dumbass shit while misleading a group of people, you know. So I get it. So I don't want to participate in that anymore. Y'all do y'all and have fun with that shit. So I just can't do it. Why is this not playing? And also, while we on the topic of changing the conversation, I've been noticing a lot of content creators. So I've been streaming maybe for like a month now. I've been noticing a lot of content creators have been stealing my topics. Y'all clearly been in my clouds, okay? Or people from your camps are in my clouds, not making yourself known at all. But then when I look up the next day, your titles are literally a play off what I was speaking about. And I'm about to start calling you out by name because it's starting to be irritating. Like every week, I've been noticing. So if you're gonna do that, at the very least, you can acknowledge me. See how I'm acknowledging O'Shea Duke Jackson? If you're going to do that, if you're gonna be in my clouds, stealing my fucking topics, stealing my talking points, it's becoming blatantly obvious with a few of you. It really is. Have the decency to acknowledge where you're getting it from. People are not stupid. People see what you're doing.
Tariq Nasheed points out frustration with African governments and diaspora connections. Tariq Nasheed points out how unfair African governments are towards Black Americans.
Mo Love, I need reparations. You got to send me like $50 and I'll think about it. I got your Cash App though.
Americans when it comes to dual citizenship. I believe many years ago he was arguing for this in Zimbabwe, and he could not make it happen, and that's probably one of the reasons why he went in the direction that he did.
Guys, pay attention to this, right? Because this would have been a very powerful thing if the diaspora really cared about unity. They were over there trying to advocate for dual citizenship, right? So they wanted Black Americans to be able to have a dual citizenship over there. And they were against it. They didn't want us to have that over there. So you see what I'm saying? People started realizing like, yo, we're over here getting behind all of your causes. But when we come over there and ask for something as the Black Americans, we don't get shit. We ain't getting none of that. So pay attention to this part.
Frustration with African governments and diaspora connections. Tariq Nasheed points out how unfair African governments are towards Black Americans when it comes to dual citizenship. I believe many years ago he was arguing for this in Zimbabwe, and he could not make it happen, and that's probably one of the reasons why he went in the direction that he did. He also argues that the promises of Pan-Africanism, which is solidarity, shared rights, mutual support between Africa and the diaspora, haven't been fulfilled in a way that benefits the diaspora. And this is actually true. There is no fairness in Pan-Africanism in practice. And so if Pan-Africanism is unfair, there is only one way to make it fair. That is delineation. And see, this is never addressed. Afro Think Tank never addresses this. Pan-Africanists who have a problem with Tariq Nasheed's rhetoric never addresses this. Now, this isn't to say that I agree with all of Tariq Nasheed, what he does, and some of the name calling he has against other groups. Clearly, I don't agree with that. But when he talks about pure ideology, this cannot be debunked. What happens is people try to force African Americans or Black Americans into flat blackness.
Peace to the tribe. So one of the reasons why I don't identify as any of these new online self-identifiers like Salon, FBA, and ADOS is because they're all ideologies with hidden agendas. So Black Americans are delineating because we want to focus on ourselves. We want our own spaces that are solely for Black Americans, and we don't have to ask for these things. We don't need permission. We have been through so much in this country, and it's okay to love only us and embrace our culture, our history, and our heritage.
Shout out to my brother from Secure the Tribe. He's on TikTok. Check him out. He always has some really good stuff. I'm trying to interview him one of these days. Like I said, shout out to the young brother, right? And he makes a point that, listen, we don't want to be under flat blackness because we want to make sure that we are who we are. For so long, we've been worried about somebody else. And that's what flat blackness does. Flat blackness makes a single, undifferentiated identity, right? And basically all Black people think, live, or struggle in the same way.
And this is why that doesn't even make sense. Because if we talk to people from different countries in the diaspora, they're going to even have some differences in culture, like language, music, like traditions, certain customs and practices themselves, which again, I support. Okay, I support it. Why are people not supporting us? Like, we just want to have our own too. It doesn't mean we want to hurt you. It doesn't mean we're against you. It's just that the disenfranchisement of Black people in this country, Black people, in my opinion, haven't really ever been on like a collective one accord. Let's focus on the positive about our culture. Let's build together. Let's have our political things that we all like want to fight for. We've never I don't say never, but I haven't seen us like really have that, because we're so mixed in with all these different ideologies before first like having a clear cut stance on our own and our what do we truly want, what matters to us, what do we want to define as our culture, right? We've never really had the opportunity because we too busy first of all fighting off the brainwashing from dominant society, and then second of all mixing in with everybody else. And they'll mix in with you, but the minute you get out of line, they're gonna tell you how much you don't have a culture. Because where I'm from, we do this. Where I'm from, we do that. Right? They'll tell your ass in a second. They gonna stand on theirs, as they should. Okay, heavy on the as they should. They should take pride in where they are, where they're from, who they are. Black Americans doing that should not be a problem for anybody else. That's the thing. Just like this Pan-African is one-sided, right? The support that we have for them, we figured out is one-sided. I support my Caribbean family taking pride in their shit and standing on what they are and who they are. If I went to Jamaica and said I was Jamaican and somebody was like, no, you're not, they would have a right to say that shit. If I went to Jamaica and try to get into the middle of their conversations about the issues that they have with their government, I would be out of line. And somebody would be perfectly in their right to tell me you're out of line. These are very simple things to understand. Because the conversation has nothing to do with a lot of you. It really doesn't. Whatever Black Americans are fighting for between them and the U.S. government, that issue is with the U.S. government. Or that issue is with the dominant society. It is not even with you who just got over here. This generation or last generation. These are like deeply rooted, long generational reoccurring issues that you have nothing to do with, but you want to throw yourselves in the middle and act as a roadblock against us. That's a fucking problem. If you weren't doing that, then yes, great. We could all be together, be on one accord. But you can't come doing that shit, then being like, why would you guys delineate? Why wouldn't we?
And this produces flat blackness. And this is a problem because it hides structural inequalities inside Black communities. It lets brands or governments claim inclusion without addressing real diversity. It causes tension between African Americans, continental Africans, and Caribbeans because we are expected to have certain identical outlooks. And this is what Pan-Africanism tries to do. Pan-Africanism tries to establish flat blackness. And in order for all Blacks to kind of work together, you kind of have to establish flat blackness. And I get it to a certain level, but at the same time, it doesn't give any real value to many Black Americans in the same way because you are pushing flat blackness. And when you push flat blackness on a whole group, you diminish their issues and you diminish their problems. But here's the flip side. Africans and Caribbeans don't really agree with flat blackness. They typically are themselves. They claim themselves. Go and look at their Instagram pages and look at their flags they have. They don't agree to this, but Black Americans somehow must agree to this, all right? 3, Tariq Nasheed reframes his focus towards foundational Black Americans. The broad flat blackness diaspora framing dilutes specific history and reparations orientation of Black Americans that come from slavery, all right? If you continue with flat blackness, you can allow a Nigerian American or a Jamaican American also get reparations for Black American or hashtag FBA or hashtag the original Negro or the original Afro-American reparations bit. And that's the issue. And people will do that. People will use flat blackness to benefit from Black Americans, but will never give anything back. And lastly, Tariq.
Yeah, because I'm really tired of that we went through slavery too argument. You have to take it up with your government and step out of the way while we're trying to take it up with ours. It's very simple. And I'm tired of people talking about begging the government. Listen, everybody else begs the fucking government. Countries, how much money did the president just give to Argentina? How much money does the U.S. give to fucking Israel and other countries? So everybody else gets to beg our government, but somehow the descendants of the people who built this fucking shit, where they've been able to generationally benefit financially from the things like there's actual logic behind this. The U.S. benefits financially because of what our ancestors done here in terms of the foundation of the economy. Why the fuck are we not allowed to ask for money when Israel can ask for money, Argentina can ask for money, everybody and their mama could get the fucking U.S. government's money, but the U.S. citizens can't? Y'all sound fucking stupid. Y'all not gonna shame me into thinking that reparations are bad. They're not. They're necessary. Fuck are y'all talking about?
Tariq Nasheed points out that neo-colonial African states do not care about their own citizens, all right? So he's skeptical about Pan-Africanism. If you do not care about your own citizens in Africa, how can you care about Black Americans? Many, if not all, African governments are failing their own populations, so you will definitely fail Black Americans, not because you're trying to, but because you're already failing. So then how can the Black diaspora or Black Americans trust you? These are arguments that Pan-Africanists tend to not want to address. And me as a person in the Pan-African community, I'm not arguing in bad faith. If I feel that my positions can change, they have. They have changed. It doesn't mean that I'm not in the Pan-African community, but I do want the truth. I do not want Black Americans to suffer in Africa. I do not want Black Africans to suffer in Africa. But these things must be addressed to make a better Africa and a better Black world. The same things that I'm addressing here. Ugandans address these when they go to Dubai or Saudi Arabia. Nigerian Americans, Nigerians in Canada, Kenyans, people that listen to what I'm talking about understand that these things happen in Africa. And what Tariq Nasheed addresses, although yes, he does use language in which I wouldn't use towards Africa, but at the same time, these are things that the Pan-African community wants to sweep underneath the rug. And that's the problem. In Africa, a lot of stuff gets swept underneath the rug. It's a cultural thing. Black Americans, we want this conflict with Pan-Africanism. Those of us who really FBA by lineage or Black Americans want a relationship with Africa, we want to force this conflict to get a better resolution. So if delineation is that conflict, then it must be delineation, because it is better to delineate than to be taken advantage of or to be used, like what happened with Dr. Ericana and the ADDI. Dr. Ericana basically had a situation in which, she had all these Black Americans getting promised for citizenship for Burkina Faso. They paid all this money and they didn't get it. They ended up getting permanent residency. But at the same time, this is problematic because you're promising to deliver something that you can't do. And everybody sweeps this behavior underneath the rug. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy LShay.
That was good. I dropped the link for if anyone wants to come. If not, I'm gonna be out of here. I just had to get that off my chest because the FBA specifically, who are anti-FBA, are really confused, pissing me off. And a lot of that I really believe be having to do with who they're dating, who they're married to, or who they want to sleep with. Because I don't understand. I don't understand how any of you could not simply understand where your quote unquote Black brothers and sisters are coming from. It's a very easy thing to understand if you truly want to. You should require some level of respect for your culture and your people. You should not be the one arguing directly against it. Like that, I don't even understand that. Like you guys don't understand how the lack of pride and race, lack of racial identity, lack of like the fact that you guys are so desperate sometimes, in my opinion, to be this, we are the world, want to be accepted by everybody. That's the detriment. Like that's the problem. You're not understanding that those other groups will not feel like that about you. And even when they come here, they're not trying to assimilate to you. They're trying to assimilate to the dominant society. So Mel says, yep, banks, car dealerships, Africa, etc., all ask for our government for bailout loan money. The U.S. had one of the reasons U.S. in so much debt, they giving money to every fucking body. I don't see none of these Black people say, oh, China, stop asking for money. Israel, stop asking for money. They don't tell none of them that, but they going to tell the descendants of the people who helped build the fucking financial, build the economy here. We got to stop asking for money. That don't make no sense. And y'all are just self-preservation. I feel like nobody taught it to y'all because y'all literally are, if you guys look around, I promise y'all the only people The only people who have a problem with taking money from the government. Like, no one in their right mind would make that argument. No one will make that argument. What y'all talking about in the chat? Shit, even rich people like free money. What the fuck? Like, black people, y'all gonna stay, some of y'all gonna stay like defeated because y'all so hell bent on y'all got something to prove. You think if you get up and say, I'm not begging the government, that it makes you better than somebody. How much money did the government give Elon Musk when Trump got in office? Millionaires gonna take that money. Y'all stupid as hell for speaking the way y'all do. And none of y'all ain't got Elon Musk money. Nobody got an issue with taking some money to get some shit done that they need done, but y'all dumbasses who want to sit around and oppress other black people and tell them they're wrong for wanting to do the same thing everybody else been doing. The shit makes no sense. Who raised y'all? And this is why I got to continue talking to the single moms, because one thing I figured out was that there needs to be a hyper focus, because you guys are raising the new children, right? The next group of adults. There's a severe lack of critical thinking skills in our community. Severe. And I'm not kidding. I don't know what happened, but a lot of our men really lack critical thinking skills. They really lack deductive reasoning. They really lack the ability to apply logic and make things make sense, right? That's why they'll get up and they'll make arguments that are directly against their own success, and then try to convince other black people to be on board with that. So I really want the women to understand, if you don't step in with your sons and your daughters and put effort into molding their minds, then that's how they're going to be too. Like, critical thinking is a skill and it needs to be taught for some, apparently. And you guys need to get on that shit. Like, life skills, like the way people see the world, the way people think things through. I've heard enough of these conversations to hear that most people do not have that function, or they don't know how to use it. And so if you guys want to complain about the state of the men or even the state of the women, but you guys have sons and you guys have daughters, then what are you doing to help them mentally and intellectually? What are you doing? Just sending them to school and bringing them back, and you think they're just going to be these smart ass adults who know how to think well? That's not how that goes. There are a lot of impairments. And I'm not saying that like we're perfect, but I think God gave me the ability to think critically, which I am grateful for. Okay. God gave me deductive reasoning skills, which I'm grateful for. God gave me logic. And unfortunately, I have better logic I'm more logical than a lot of men I come in contact with. This is a fact. And it's unfortunate. And it might be because I have 4 brothers. I don't know, but it's unfortunate because it should not be like that. I shouldn't have to be the one to tell Black MAGA people, do you understand what Christian nationalism is? You fucking signed up for it. You didn't even think it through. The woman should not have to be the one to come tell no grown ass man that. Right? The woman should not have to be the one to tell no grown ass man it's your responsibility to put a condom on your own penis. The woman should not have to explain that to no grown ass man. So y'all think I'm playing, but again, you guys are raising the next men. If you guys do not put a hyper focus on their critical thinking skills, it's going to be a repeat of the same shit. Actually getting worse, because if these are people who came up with us and they're saying that the generation under the millennials are supposedly not that bright, they're not this, they're not that, what you think y'all kids going to be like? Like, what are y'all actually doing? No, all races are not Christian nationalists, Davey. There's a difference between a Christian and a Christian nationalist. Okay? A Christian nationalist is a white supremacist a lot of times. A lot of their agendas are very much beneficial to white males and anti-everybody else. Okay? I had one on here. He explained the whole damn thing. And if you get into the people that Trump is strategically putting in place, they're Christian nationalists. See, here you go right here. What's up, Joshua? We're going to do a show soon too. Joshua could tell y'all. And this is my thing. Why don't you know that? Why does a woman have to do that research and tell you? Mel says, right, these manosphere dudes are now making videos about what's going on with these MAGA pastors putting out rhetoric about publicly lynching black men, bamboozled again. And who started that conversation? Venus. Ain't nobody gonna say that, but you, like I said earlier, you're gonna see it in their shows though. Okay, we got somebody in the back. I don't know if I know him, so let's hold on, y'all. We gotta do a vibe check. Why am I more logical than the men? That shit is insane. I should not be. Hello, Joe.
Hello there. Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. No, you have never heard from me before, but I've seen you on Mo Love's channel and 85 channel, Mr. Best.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I've heard you probably for the last 2 weeks, just listening in to you talking on their panels and then finding out that you have your own panel here. And you just sound like a very intelligent black woman. So, just dropping in and introducing myself, saying hello.
Well, I appreciate you coming up. And thank you for the compliment. Do you have anything on the topic that I was talking about?
I just dropped in. I saw some of that Louis Farrakhan clip that you played maybe 30, 40 minutes ago. So I kind of dropped in and out, listening to the commentary. So I guess wherever I can contribute, I will. If you have any questions for me, I would be happy to answer to the best of my ability.
Okay, so what is your take on the whole FBA thing and needing to delineate, or do you have a perspective on it at all?
Personally, I mean, in terms of like Tariq Nasheed, I did see that clip too, and how he says that we should focus on Black Americans as opposed to Black in like Africa. I personally would agree with him on that we should, because from my dealings with talking to a lot of Africans, they don't think nearly as much about us the way that we think about them. It's more like it's really a one-sided kind of relationship. That's just from personal dealings with them. They find it admirable that we care so much about them and want to get back to the motherland, but they don't even claim us. But in our minds, we think black is unity, but in their minds, ethnicity is unity in their individual tribes, in their individual states. But we think of it completely differently. We think black is, we all should be in this together. They're not. They don't think that way at all. So I don't know. That's about the extent to which I understand what FBA is, but I'm also here to just listen and be enlightened and learn something that perhaps I myself don't yet
know. Okay, fair enough. Mulatto, what's up?
Peace, Venus. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. What's going on?
Ain't too much. And big up to the brother Joe. And when I asked this, full disclosure, I'm not trying to put your back against the wall. And really, if I ask a question that you don't like, I'll even drop down for the answer. But I do remember you said that you won't call ICE on the illegal aliens, particularly the Africans and the Caribbean illegal aliens. My question is, if Black Americans continue to turn a blind eye to mass immigration and we refuse to report illegal aliens to ICE, don't you understand that this will cause the eradication ultimately of all majority Black American cities, towns, and counties? Or in other words, just like New York City has no majority Black American communities because we have turned a blind eye to mass immigration, don't you understand that this can happen throughout the entirety of the U.S.?
Yeah, I don't agree with that because no one's stopping Black Americans from marrying each other, right? Prioritizing each other, right? Nobody's stopping them from doing that. So no, I don't think because an immigrant is here, that's stopping you. That is a choice people are making.
And Venus, when I say this, I'm saying this with love. Remember how earlier you said that you'll say a factual statement and then a person will respond with a series of factual statements that are random and unrelated to what you just asked? Now, I agree that we as descendants of U.S. chattel slaves, yes, it's imperative for us to procreate with each other. I agree that us being married to each other is definitely a benefit to our community. But my question is, how does that stop the influx of immigrants that are literally outnumbering us in our own communities?
Okay, and I answered you. Your first question was, do you think that would eradicate the FBA? So my answer was no, I don't, because no one's forcing FBA not to marry and reproduce with each other. Just want to make that clear. I answered your question.
And Venus, I think that respectfully, you may have misunderstood my question. My question is, and I'll say it verbatim, how will we maintain majority Black American communities if we continue to allow immigrants to outnumber us in communities, cities, towns, and counties where we used to be the majority?
Okay, if Black Americans prioritize marrying and reproducing with each other, because we are still the majority, there's not more of them than us. I don't know where you're getting that from.
Well, just so we clear, when you say there's more of us than them, who are you referring to? Because right now, Latino immigrants outnumber us in the U.S., right? They definitely outnumber us in New
So
York. In fact, I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
non so this conversation, okay, non FBA Black people, there are more of them here than us here.
And that's why I brought up the example of New York City. But I also could have said Boston. These northeastern cities, from New York to Boston, along that corridor, there are virtually zero majority Black American communities in these cities. Even the small ones like New Bedford, Massachusetts, or Springfield, Massachusetts, or Providence, Rhode Island. So my question is, and like I said, I almost want to drop down just for the answer because I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to catch you in a trick bag. But this is a legitimate question. How will
This
we
is no trick.
maintain?
I don't have to.
Yes,
Go
ma'am,
ahead.
and I appreciate you. My question is, how will we maintain majority Black American cities, towns, counties, and communities while we are simultaneously turning a blind eye to the influx of immigrants that are literally outnumbering us in our own communities?
Hmm.
So my answer is not going to change. If Black Americans prioritize reproducing and marrying each other, there lies the answer.
But how does that stop the influx, though? That's the part I'm confused about.
So I thought it was about outnumbering us. I'm not here to stop anything. I'm not calling ice on people. That's just not my. I'm
No,
not doing that. If
but
you
Venus,
want
hear
to,
me
that's
out.
on you.
But Venus, hear me out. The influx is what is allowing them to outnumber us. Literally.
No,
That's why we are
no, no,
outnumbered
no.
by immigrants.
Well, this is where I do kind of disagree. One of the things that Black Americans not caring about marriage and not having any like pride in their own is a big issue. How about we focus on that first?
No, I agree with you, but we have to multitask because right now it's essentially, and I'm not just saying this is something I see out of view, but when I have this exact discussion with Black Americans, literally, I will say, all right, the house is flooding. That's a metaphor for mass immigration. And the response, the typical response I get out of Black Americans is, okay, but in this room we got roaches, in this room we got rats, in this room we got termites. Yes, I agree. Those are also other problems that we must address. But we also must address the flooding. We must turn the faucet off, or the whole house will be flooded. And that's a metaphor for all of our communities. We will be outnumbered in all of them. Because, yes, I agree that we need to stop aborting our babies. We need to have more babies. We need to get married. I agree with all of those things. But that is not stopping the influx, the millions of immigrants that have already surpassed us demographically in the U.S. So the question is, in closing, and I know I'm long with it, I apologize, and thank you for not cutting me off. We have to ask ourselves as descendants of U.S. chattel slaves, how many more of our cities, towns, counties, communities, and congressional districts will we forfeit to foreigners? And if the answer is we don't want to forfeit anymore, we must tangibly create policies that preserve our communities. And God bless you, Venus. I actually just missed a phone call. I got to drop down. But much love to you and much love to all the listeners. Peace, family.
Thank you for coming. Anybody in agreement with him? Isn't the U.S. government handling that for y'all right now? I don't understand what you want me to do. I'm not calling ICE on people because I just don't feel okay with doing that. I'm not calling ICE on people. Hold on. What's up, Josh?
Hey, I actually want to answer that question.
Mhm.
So the question is really based on the concept of why ought we not call ICE? Or you know what? Fuck it. Anything that we do, why ought we not call the police? Well, because at some point that authority turns from the thing that you want it to attack to a thing that you don't want to attack, which is usually you. So like if you have a community,
didn't that happen in Chicago? Exactly.
That's usually how that goes. Yes, you invite popos into your house, they're going to eventually do what popos do. I should know. I'm a Fed. That's what we do. It's like, what the hell? Today's the target would be, let's just say, immigrants, right? Why can't tomorrow be, I don't know, you ain't got your damn driver's license? Off to the cage you go. It just, you don't want them in your vicinity.
Wait, but this is where I think that I hope I'm not saying this wrong. I think they were doing that in Chicago, right? Where it was like this raid is supposed to be for illegal immigrants only, but then it turned into we're locking up any black people who have any type of warrant or criminal offense or something like that, right?
But by the nature of how that works, yes. So for starters, I don't know why nobody looked up the business owner. It was Wells Fargo that was actually working on foreclosing on that property. And because you got a bunch of tenants, you got to prune out the tenants, right? Otherwise, you have to buy out their contracts. So their interest, they called in ICE because it's just a way of pruning out the crowd. Now, on the flip side of it is, yes, cops are going to come in, whether it's just going to be ICE, they're going to look for whatever. But their sole job is law enforcement. Doesn't have to just be immigration, can be anything. If you want a stable environment, the last thing that if you want to control your community, the last thing you want is another outside authority coming in, ever.
Thank you, Josh. That's really great. I wish I would have thought of that. Joe, you were about to say something?
No, I was thinking about what the last gentleman, his question, and my retort to him would have been the abortion issue, but he covered that. The illegal immigrant issue is a threat in the sense that politically it will wipe out the need for the black vote. So if you look at it politically, it's absolutely, and that's what it's been doing. So we already are kind of the minority in this country. I'm not traveling across the country. I've seen just how much of a minority I am outside of just Detroit or any major area where most of us come together at for safety in numbers, right? So when they're flooding this country, it almost seems like there's some sort of agenda there. So if they successfully make it so the black vote doesn't count as much, and it's not that it counts a lot, obviously not as much as the white vote, but when the Hispanic vote starts to count much more, we lose our ability to even put into policies or even ask for any policy changes or make any sort of, like Barack Obama, he'll focus on the gay community before he focuses on the black community, which is what he did because they outnumbered us, also economically as well. So it always started some years ago, many years ago, but it gets progressively worse the more illegal immigrants are flooded and that they're allowed to naturalize into the country because they're already here, so they might as well just go ahead and camp out. And because the Democrats also know that it's going to, that because they know the Democrats are the ones that's allowing them to come into the country, they associate that with, oh, well, it makes sense for me to vote Democratic. And even if it's not in our best interest as Black Americans, we won't have simply the power or the voice to inspire any sort of change with any politician on a serious level. So you just kind of get pushed down to the wayside. So I understand where he's coming from, at least on the political aspect. But that's not even talking about the social.
I understand it too. It's just personally, I'm not okay with calling ICE on anybody. I'm not, just not.
So let me ask you this then: if someone was to infiltrate, let's say your house personally, right? Someone that is not your family or friend, break into your house, you wouldn't be comfortable calling the police on that individual, that potential assailant?
Well, yeah, if they broke into my house, yeah.
So how is that any different than someone breaking into our house collectively in general of this country, right? Crossing the borders illegally, doing all kinds of illegal things to stay within the borders and overstay their welcome, so to speak. How is that any different from that house being, which we all share on this land, but whether we like it or not, we all do, and someone who you see personally face to face with a mask on, with a gun in his hand, breaking into your house, and then you properly reacting to, I'm going to call the police, or in some cases, you taking it into your own hands, if and sometimes the police aren't there to come.
Because I personally don't share that sentiment that you guys have. I just don't. I'm from a very diverse city. Some of these people I went to school with, some of them are my friends, or some of them are family members to people I care about. So I personally, I'm not calling ICE on nobody. I understand you guys' arguments. Maybe I'm biased. I'm not participating in that. I'm just not doing it. That's how I feel about it.
Can I answer that
Yeah,
question
go ahead.
too?
Mhm.
So, I guess the question is if
you basically defend a robber from coming into your house, why would you also not defend or defend against a robber that's coming into our house? It's the word is the emphasized on the our. It appears that a lot of group of people within the Black community don't agree on who is ours. It's that division is the problem. Which is exactly apparently what the topic is about.
So my thing is, I'm all for delineation, but for me, my whole conversation was delineating didn't mean 1000% separate. Do not collab. That's not my perspective. I think that we can coexist. We can do business. We can be around each other. We can be civil, and but until there's a clear boundary, right? In some respects, there's certain things that just have to be off limits right now. That's just kind of where I'm coming from. Every FBA don't think the same, but that's where I feel. I'm not as extreme as he is, right? As an FBA, but he's like cool ice on everybody. I can't personally. I don't agree with that.
So you can coexist and sing kumbaya with someone who breaks and enters into your home and then takes camp into your home. But I would think it makes more logical sense to say, well, if I'm inviting you into my home, you go through the proper channels to come to my home in the first place, and then I have to have the choice to invite you in. That then would become a welcoming guest as opposed to a potential threat, because it's forcing yourself into my home and then saying, well, I'm here, make do with it. And then you're kind of like, well, okay, I guess, oh, all right, well, welcome,
No,
right?
I'm
It's
just saying,
always going to be your food.
I know some of these people, and so I know what they would be being sent back to. And personally, I would not be able to sleep at night about that shit. Y'all want to do that? Have fun. I'm not trying to stop no FBA from nothing. I'm telling y'all, I'm not participating in calling ICE. I'm not doing that.
So you're willing to sacrifice, as the last gentleman said, the flooding of, in a way, taking of the resources that would have otherwise gone to you and your family because of your, well, and it's empathy, and it's a good thing to have. But then it's kind of like, well, I have $1 million, and oh, you need 1,000, okay. Oh, you need 1,000 too, okay. And next thing you know, you're the one that's broke. And if you was to go and ask that person for the $1,000 in any way, shape, or form, you might find it very difficult to get it from any one of the people that you gave that money out to, whether it's by empathetic means, or I just want to give it away, and now you're living on the street with the rest of it. So that to me seems like the line of that he was going, and where I'm kind of leaning, where it makes sense for me to agree more so with him. Not everything he said, but more so with what he's saying. But for someone to say, you said you're a very logical person, that's a very empathetic and emotional, in my opinion, reason, which I'm not against. But I don't know. I think that from your experience, you say you don't have a
yeah, I am logical, but I'm emotional as well, right? Yeah, so I'm human. I know some of these people, and I know what some of their family members would be being sent back to. I'm not participating in that. But you guys keep saying if you don't do anything, the flooding. Well, it looks like your president has it handled. Okay, as of late, 2025 estimates project that over 600,000 immigrants could be deported by the end of the year. Okay, we're looking at the ICE and the shit every damn day. It's being handled. I don't feel like I'm gonna allow. I'm not allowing. I don't have anything to do with it. It's being handled. That's how I feel about it. I'm just not going to participate in it. If you want to, that's on you. Like it's that simple.
Oh, just to be clear, over 50% of illegal immigrants were deported within the first 3 months. The rest of them, little bit more difficult because you have all of these little, I don't know, weird quirks in the legal system where there's protections that have to be overturned. But if you go since Trump was in office, if you go down by the active deportations by the numbers, they're actually in a massive decline. The first 50%, first three months gone. Definitely a problem that's been taken care of. It's just now it's a political talking point, right? Like now, even all of the people that are getting ready to run up next year on local government, right? That's what they're all, we got to get rid of the immigrants. And you're like, I don't know about that. They're mostly gone. What the hell's your issue? Not saying they're all gone, just mostly. But now it's a political talking point, which is the same idea of once you allow authority into your community, guess who your new enemy is? Us.
And why aren't you guys considering what we've been seeing? What happened in Chicago to Black Americans when ICE showed up? What's happening in New York right now when ICE shows up? It ain't gonna go all the way the way you think. Like y'all so quick to want to sacrifice somebody else. Your ass will be sacrificed too. Like, I don't know.
So it's to give them an inch, they run away with a mile. That's the theory here.
The reality is we're not giving the government anything. They're doing what they want because they can. But I personally, I understand like my position, especially as FBA being so hard on that. Like sounds kind of yeah, I'm sorry. I just have a little bit of a bias because for some of you, the thought of these people is just an idea. For me, they're people I know. You know what I'm saying? So it's just different.
Well, I live in Detroit, so immigrants are everywhere.
Right. But are they your friends? Are some of those people related to your friends? You know what I'm saying? Or are some of those people you talk to and been around for years? No.
Yeah,
Those would be different, y'all.
grow up with them, befriended them, worked with them, lots of them, and became very friendly with them. I don't actually have any issue with them personally. When I was around them most of the time, they was proud to talk about how they went through the legal channels. I didn't even know nothing about it. I'm younger, but they was, my mother came and they did this and they did this, and I got the papers, and they was very American. So it wasn't like this radical thing where they're coming and they're waving their flag around. You wouldn't even know they were Mexican or any other, because they were just proud to say I'm American first, right? It's like there's a certain pride that came with going through the legal channel of in the process that it takes to get there. It's like my parents went through this, or they were first generation. I went through. They took the time to learn how to speak English. They took the time to learn the culture. They assimilated in such a way that the legal immigrants, from having seen them in the Detroit area, they don't have the same kind of pride. It was almost kind of like we took it, and if they're willing to take it and they get away with it, there's a certain mindset that comes with that. We got away with something that we know we should have did it this way, but that in itself is a lack of respect for the laws and the governing channels that we have in place to make immigration the way it's supposed to be. There's a process for a reason. The learning of everything is so they can assimilate, not so they can be brainwashed to Americanism, but so that they have healthy love and respect for the home that they're coming into. Just like knocking on the door before you're not barging in. You're not kicking my door in, but you're knocking. You have to go to the bar. Okay, I trust you to come to my home. You want to live here? Okay, here's the key to the house. So there's a process, but when you barge through, there's nothing that individual will tell me that makes them at that point benevolent to me. Because I can never, even if you start to talk to me sweet, yeah, well, but I still remember you barging through my door. So I still have to keep an eye on you. And you see their true colors. So it's a different mindset that person has to have by way of how they come into a country. Not just America, but any country in the world. Because no other country would have it the way we do it. You couldn't just go to Europe and say, I'm a citizen now. Or Germany, even if you wanted to, or Africa. There's a process.
I feel like the conversation is becoming circular because you're not. I just want to make sure you understand. I understand your position. I'm just not going to agree. If that is what you, some Black Americans want to do, I'm not stopping you. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just not participating in calling ICE. I personally can't do it. I'm not
Can I
telling you that. That's all.
can,
Um,
can I be the asshole that woman splains here for a moment? Because I think I got a take on this that a little controversial, but I'd like to give it a shot here. All right, so imagine a bunch of women saying, "What are you doing to protect our house?" Right? You've been having this conversation with the red pill community for like the last 8 years, right? Men are supposed to provide a provision and protection, right? So you got some people, let's just say, coming from out of the country, right? And they're coming in, and you're saying, "Oh, well, they're a threat. They're coming into our home." Except for at the same time, so are the cops, right? Because they're after the immigrants that you want getting rid of, right? And the women are still saying, "Where's our protection? Why is my home not secure?" It seems like you're looking at problem one, right? But five steps down the road, there's another problem. At some point, you guys are going to end up having to fight the government. When's that going to happen? Or you're just not going to? And the women are just going to get ignored saying, "When are you going to protect the home?" It's kind of like based on that concept about like calling ICE.
Wait, hold on. Hold on, y'all. I don't want to forget. Have a couple of cash apps and super chats I want to read. So one.
I like that actually. That's kind of that was cool.
I hear somebody. Wait, hold on, real quick. Just have a couple. Thank you, my boo Lauren Mack. She says for premium YouTube, maybe one day. Thank you again for the $20. She says, why do people insist on coming to people's platforms to say that there is something more important to address? Why can't you speak on your own show about what you want to be the priority? That's a great question, Lauren. I don't know. That's a great question.
They
But
don't have
also,
to speak
thank
about
you to Mo for the cash app. I just want to make sure I said thank you to everybody. Thank you to Lena. Thank you to Hope. Thank you to Larry. Okay, that's all. Thank you guys for the support. I appreciate it. Continue to support the show. And then I could be here more often. Okay. I can't be here all day, every day. And, it's not beneficial. Just saying. Mel says they are so disrespectful to FBA, and yet we are still not capable of their cruelty. We just aren't. So there's diversity amongst groups, right? The same way you guys think some non-FBA are just horrible, don't give a F about you. Some of them are, and some of them actually aren't, right? Same for Black people. Some of us are not as cruel, and some of them are ruthless and cruel. Maybe you should talk to them. Talk to the YNs. Talk to the people who don't have a problem being violent and doing shit. Talk to those, like, it's kind of like, I don't want to go here, but it's like, the conversation really should be amongst men, if I'm being honest. It's always this pressure from men on women to handle problems that men should be handling in the first place.
Yeah.
And there it is. Quite literally, there it is, right? You're going to keep calling the popos to come up into your house, and the women are going to sit there. What about the protection of my house? AKA, the man's job is the provision of protection.
No, Mel, I agree. She said it's coming off kind of the same way, like Black men and white men. It says Black men won't get down in the mud like white men will for power and resources. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like even then, a lot of the conversations go to, well, the women, the women, the women. Though, why are you worried about women? Go handle man shit. Like I don't get it. Like what's this pressure on women? Like no, it shouldn't even be like that.
I
Just
agree.
saying.
I absolutely agree.
Santana, did you have something to add? We're gonna end the show pretty soon. What you got?
You know what? It was. I'm not even sure if this was all about what you was talking about. I just heard the ICE thing. He was like, "Oh, I wouldn't call ICE on immigrants." Me personally, I'd have did it before. I actually did it a few times, but the reason why it didn't go through is because they be having you waiting a long time on the line. I ain't with none of that. It's some immigrants I've been wanting to get rid of for a minute now, so I don't really see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't either. I just can't participate. It's just one of those things. If that's what y'all want to do, again, I don't know why the energy toward me. I'm not telling y'all what to do. I'm just telling you all what I'm not gonna do.
If you
I
can.
understand
That's it's,
Black Americans and why they feel how they feel. I understand. That's why I'm not standing in your way, but I'm not gonna be
mhm.
pressured into participating in something I don't want to participate in either.
Is it because you don't live around them?
She does.
Do that
I
have something to
do
do with
live
it?
around them. What are you talking about? I probably live
I
around
was
more of
just
them
I was just
than you.
asking. I was just asking.
I feel like you haven't been listening to that would be an obvious yes. I just said I have a lot of friends who I've gone to school with who are either first generation Americans, um, right? So they may be from either the Caribbean islands themselves, or if not, their parents are. A lot of them, because I went to high school in a very Caribbean neighborhood called Flatbush, right? So most of my friends are literally non FBA. That's the crazy thing, right?
Right.
I know that a lot of them have family members who may not have their documents together. I know this for a fact. Me personally, because I know these people, I'm not participating in that. That's what I've been saying the whole time.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Because I know better than a lot of you guys know, because you're not friends with them,
Right.
the horrible conditions in which some of them would have to return to. And I can't participate. If you
So
want to do
if they,
that, you do it. I'm not going to be pressured. I'm like kind of getting annoyed because like no matter how I say it, I keep coming with different ways of asking me the same question when it's a hard no. I'm not calling ICE. Like my life gotta be in danger or some shit. But other than that, I'm not participating.
I get
Again,
that.
the president has already gotten rid of half of them and aggressively looking for the rest. I don't know what you guys want the black women to do or who you think we are. Like what why do I have to be the why? Like I don't get it.
Hmm.
um, yeah, I don't know where you stay at, but I know it was a bunch of immigrants that was dumped in the black community, by these politicians, and it was strictly just for some money. And I'm in Chicago, and they
I'm in New York and you know what's happening right now? They in New York right now getting them
well, they
together.
po-
What do you want me to do?
get out there with them.
What? Like and
What?
it's really not funny because again, this is black men and the expectations on black women. You're not even out there with them. But you
I
want the
have,
black
I actually,
but you want
I
the
actually,
black woman to go and put herself in harm's way. This is the weak shit.
yeah, because I done heard certain women say that they are the new leaders of the black community now. So I feel like, yeah, y'all probably should get out there and protect
All
the
right. I
community
feel
from them.
like
I
just when
ain't
the
trying.
conversation gets
No, it's
kind of
cool.
dumb. So I'm gonna drop you. I'm not playing. Like I have no time for the stupid shit. I don't. What's up,
Crazy.
Mulatto?
Peace, peace. I heard you was about to close it down, so I just wanted to get my final words, but I don't want to jump the line.
You can go ahead.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you. Conversations like these, and everything I'm saying is an honest assessment. I'm not trying to send no shots at no one. Conversation like these make me question: do Black Americans have any sense of self-preservation? We have to understand that if we refuse to report illegal aliens to ICE, the entirety of the U.S. will look like Brooklyn. It will look like Manhattan, where you have no majority Black American communities. So I'll say this in closing: FBA LA, pack it up. Y'all already done. FBA New York, pack it up. Y'all already done. FBA Mississippi, y'all about to be packed up soon too. FBA DMV, you're not gonna have shit left. And your children will be minorities in their own country. They will be outnumbered by foreigners because us, our generation, and the generations before us refused to address the elephant in the room because we felt like we had sympathy for the elephant in the room. But we did not have sympathy for our own future generations. We did not preserve our communities that our future generations were supposed to inherit from us. We gave that to foreigners, and somehow we think that that made us morally sound. But Venus, thanks for having me up. Much love to you, and big up to all the panelists. Oh, one last thing in closing. I heard the Caucasians speaking about the police will be our new enemy. Any Black American, any descendant of the U.S. chattel slaves will tell you the goddamn police been our motherfucking enemy. We've been getting mass incarcerated. They had the COINTELPRO war against us. We've been fighting the police. So we should not use that as an excuse to allow foreigners, invaders, to outnumber us in our own country. Literally, especially as taxpayers. My taxes don't pay ICE to twiddle their thumbs.
Can you do me a favor? Can you give me like one example of the black people going back against the government, the
Yes,
popos?
let me answer that. Literally, you had the George Floyd uprisings. Literally, police got killed in the George Floyd uprisings
Yes.
recently. You had
How
the
many?
Black Panther. I'm trying to answer your question. I'll give
No,
you one
I'll
more.
give you that. How many? Okay, so
All right,
a
go ahead.
couple cops got killed. I'll give you that one, right? I
All
think
right.
14 total. How many black people got killed?
More than that. What's your point?
Point is it's basically the enemy of my enemy is also my enemy.
All right, but
Like
when were the
everybody says
police
the
not our
French part,
enemy?
right?
Well, let's
You
see.
don't.
Let's not talk past each other. When were the police not the enemy of the Black American community?
As far as I'm concerned, all authority is always an enemy, and
Exactly. So what's new?
I'm an authoritarian
So I'm asking, what's new?
Well, so I guess what I don't understand is
Yes.
you take like let's just say one problem like immigration, right? I'll give you
Exactly.
it's probably a problem, right? Well, I don't
For
think it's
sure.
as big a problem as people say, but I will agree that it's on the list of problems, right?
Exactly.
But authority, why rely on government to be the authority? Why not just be your own authority?
All right, let me respond to that. My taxes pay ICE to perform a particular task. Yes or no?
Yes.
All right, so we have to hold ICE accountable. Yes or no?
No.
All right, well, that's your choice. And watch this. And Venus, I wanted to say this earlier. Immigrants and the descendants of immigrants attempt to use immigrant gaslighting tactics against us to convince us that mass immigration is not as big of a problem as it actually is. Now, watch this, Josh. Was your family present in the U.S. when the U.S. was founded?
No.
Or did they immigrate later?
No. Let's see here. Okay, I think my father's side goes back to one of the 13 colonies, but no, my mother's side was AKA my surname is German. I came on
Exactly.
yeah. So
And that's my point right there. Since you are of immigrant stock, you want to convince people whose families, whose lineage was here when the country was founded. You want to gaslight us into believing.
What's the total
Well,
number of
allow me to complete the sentence. Don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic. Allow me to land my plane, then you could rebut. The
okay.
point is, since you are of immigrant stock, all right, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Am I coming through clearly? Yes or no? All right, so the question is, no, I'll make a statement. Since Josh is of immigrant stock, he wants to convince us that are not of immigrant stock that immigration is not as big of a problem as it actually is. So I'll ask Josh in closing, since you don't support reporting illegal aliens to ICE, my question is, what measures do you support implementing to mitigate the issue of mass immigration and illegal immigration?
Oh, that's easy. Technically speaking, your U.S. citizens don't actually control the immigration process, right? It's been controlled by Congress since, I guess, the 30s or the 40s. Right?
Exactly. Did you hear the question, though, brother?
There's a cap that allows them in. Generally, what we're
Exactly.
talking about immigration, by
Did
vast
you hear the question,
majority,
though?
are actually dual nationals currently.
You might have forgot the question. The question was, what measures, what
Go after
policies do you
Congress.
actually support? Say it again.
Go after Congress and change the cap rate.
Exactly. Now, until legislation is passed, what should we do in the meantime, in between time?
Wait, let me interject.
There's nothing you can do.
Venus,
Right.
you cannot say something. I'll tell you what we can do, Josh. We could call ICE on them, which is what I do. I got over 70 illegal aliens deported myself.
Wow,
And
that's
Venus,
crazy.
go ahead, says we listening.
That's wow, bro.
Yeah, so the government is currently aggressively pursuing getting rid of illegal immigrants right now. So why? I guess I'm trying to understand where the pressure is coming in to a black woman to go out of her way to participate in that.
And let's not genderize the discussion because black men and black women must participate just like illegal aliens are both men and women. So this is not a genderized discussion. Now, to answer your first part, only 600,000 illegal aliens have been deported. Are you aware that there are literally millions of illegal aliens still in the U.S.?
No, I
They're,
have always.
So we need
they're
to
absolutely
increase the
not
amount.
illegal.
Hold on.
So we need
I
to
have.
increase. Go ahead,
Hold
sis.
on. What? Listen, you got to learn how to have a conversation and not just ramble and shit. Okay? You asked the question.
Yes.
You have no way to know that there are millions of immigrants. So where are you getting that from?
Yes, literally, even the CDC and the census, and even Biden admitted that there were millions of illegal aliens in the U.S. I mean, I don't know why we had to play dumb. I mean,
No, I'm not playing dumb. If these are undocumented people, how do you have
exactly.
an accurate count?
Well, let me respond to you. Even if you don't trust my number, you agree that there's still more in the country, correct?
No, we're not gonna deflect. You like direct answers, right?
No,
Answer
no,
the
I
question.
agree. No, I'm conceding. Yeah, my numbers are wrong. So you agree that there's still more here, correct?
Sure.
Okay, so they must be apprehended and deported, correct?
Wait,
Have
immigrants or
at
Oh, I'm trying
immigrants?
to have a dialogue with the sister. Go ahead, sis.
it. What do you again? What do you want
All
me to do?
right. Well, literally, it's not about what I want you to do. I'm telling you the adverse effects or the accumulative effect of your inaction. The accumulative effect of your inaction is that your city that you come from has zero majority black American communities. We don't want that in Maryland. We don't want Maryland to be like Brooklyn. We don't want Atlanta to be like Brooklyn. We don't want North Carolina to be like Brooklyn. So in order to stop that from happening, we must take action, such as
That's
literally picking up the phone and calling ICE.
North Carolina would never be like Brooklyn. Certain Florida would never be
I
like
pray
there's
it won't. I pray
certain
it won't.
states. Yo, I'm gonna drop you if you cannot stop
All right, well, I'll
interjecting.
leave on my own. Venus, you know I love you, and big up to the panel. Peace.
This is how I feel, Mel. I'm not doing it, but I'm not standing in no black person way. Like y'all do what y'all want to do. You know what I'm saying? Stop pretending like every state in this fucking country is operated and ran the same. It's literally not. Shit that's allowed in New York would never be allowed in Florida, right? For example, like this overly dramatic, no, because it's gonna take over the whole country, and it like get the fuck on with that. Stop. It's annoying. And all of this
Well,
like coming to it's just I need men to like address men when it comes to certain shit. Like, don't fucking address me. Don't ask me to put myself in no slight, minuscule amount of danger because you niggas ain't gonna fucking save me. That's what I do know. So
Damn,
to
I
say
mean,
ain't gonna come protect me, ain't gonna save me, ain't gonna do shit for me, are not going to convince me to endanger my fucking self. And no man should be convincing a woman to do that. The fuck? I still have
you,
to live here. What do you mean?
you really not gonna let me hide behind your skirt? Damn it, it's not fair.
What do you need to say, Joshua?
You're not gonna let me hide behind your skirt? What the hell?
That's what that sounds like. What the fuck?
No, that's just where it is. This is what we want women to step up and do. Sorry, I oppose women having voting rights, let alone doing anything. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
See, here you
maybe
come with your nationalist shit. Joey,
It's odd to me that we would hide behind our women. I don't understand how a culture exists like that.
man, It exists.
So is it
And
is it
part of it exists because of the institution that you work for, but that's another conversation, okay?
This is true. This is true.
I wonder like
Your
if it's
your
I do
boss
wonder if
is
it's hiding or if it's because you can say it's hiding or like aggressively trying to get you to do the work that men should be doing, or is it something akin to like what has been done in the 60s or 50s where you had the Million Man March, but there was obviously women behind those men that supported them. Like it wasn't just men there. Or even like with when you talk about Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, there was always a strong black woman behind these men. I think perhaps maybe I'm assuming that the mindset is, if I'm going to be out there on the front line, I don't necessarily want you out there with me there, but that support, right? If it's almost like there's a seeking of that support from the black woman in terms of those specific ideas. And if it's not there and the man is just acting alone, it can be done, but it's going to be much harder to accomplish that goal if we're not all on one accord. But
so
obviously, you're your own person. You don't have to be. And so
so
that's fair too.
here's the thing. I love that you mentioned people like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Black Panthers. Look what you said. The women were behind those men. Those men already had an agenda, already stood for a cause, and were already doing something. Those men were standing behind. I don't know about these men. Like, I'm sorry, I don't. They need to first, they themselves need to be lead by example. That's what they need to do. If they feel like there's a imminent threat to black people, then they should handle it and let the women
Okay.
see capable of handling some shit, and then we'll get back on board. But you do not go to the women trying to push them. Like, nah, I'm just absolutely not. I don't agree with that.
So you feel like the man should be doing all of the, I guess, the legwork up front, and then the woman would say, "Oh, okay, I guess they're on to something," and then tack on, as opposed to the woman sometimes being the support that helps the men get. So, in other words, they're in the same space in terms of the goals and agenda, but the man is leading the charge. But you're saying that forget about me supporting you now. Come get me later when you've done something or when you show me you're doing something that's worthy of being followed. Which I think is a different kind of mindset because I can't imagine that a lot of these women supported. I can imagine Coretta Scott King saying, "Yeah, I support you going out there putting your life in danger." I'm sure they had to have that conversation and they both went into the fray together in different roles. But I don't think it was, I highly doubt it was Martin Luther King going out there in the forefront and then Coretta suddenly coming around saying, "Oh, okay, now I'll support you," as opposed to supporting him in the beginning instead of coming in later on when he's got some traction. I think there's a difference in terms of, I guess, in terms of expectations. I personally don't have it, but I think that's where they're coming from. Not so much throwing you out into the front line, say you go do it. Obviously, that's not what That's not what they would want you to do, and if they do, they're weak for that. But if it's more so like, well, you know, I'm going to do this, but I would like to have your support in going there instead of you or a large swath of black women coming in at the end of it or towards the middle of it and saying, okay, because we see this is something, this is a movement we want to get behind. Being there in the beginning of the movement, I think is that support is necessary if they want to accomplish this particular goal of getting rid of the illegal immigrants in the country. So that's just what I would think. That's what they're thinking.
Right. So,
How I would
okay, you're a little long-winded. So there are a lot of Black American women who are in agreement with you and will participate. I'm just not one of them. It's simple as that. Some of them in my chat. You know what I'm saying? That like I don't speak for all of the Black American women. I speak for me. And I've like made it clear, I don't know how many times, that my position ain't changing on it. It's just not. Feel how you feel. But there's a lot of Black Americans who agree with you. Y'all need to group up and do what y'all do if y'all want to do it. I'm just not doing it.
same way there wasn't a lot of people that supported the movement in the 50s and 60s. A lot of black people. It's a perception of it because there was a lot of black people out there doing it. But there was a lot of people that sat out. They just didn't participate. They felt in a lot of ways the way you felt about it. Oh, I don't want to. Yeah, they did the bus thing. I'm good. Million Man March. I'm good on that. They might be neutral on the subject, like you are, and that's fine, right?
Yes, Mel, they're kicking me out of delineation movement because I don't want to call ICE. Okay. So I'm just saying, like, to any black men who, it's not wrong to want support from black American women. I understand what you're saying about like self-preservation and how there's a direct impact, right? But how I'm looking at it is this: the government is literally handling it. Like I'm not getting in that. Like that's that. Y'all want to help them. Do you?
But that's that.
They won't. Not a damn one of them told me thank me for my service. I'm a damn Fed. What the hell? They don't give a damn, right? It just is what it is.
How many immigrants have you removed from the community, Josh? 0.
From the community, no. We stop them from getting in before they get here.
Okay. I guess you
State
count
Department, they have to go through us to get here.
Well, that's interesting. Well, you would never be thankful for that because it's more like if it's preventative, then people don't see how many people are not coming in here illegally. So you're doing the unsung hero type of work.
Hey, I don't even consider like I don't actually care. I don't see myself as a hero. I actually see myself as an authoritarian. I just know how we operate. Today, we're after this group of people. Tomorrow, we'll be after a different group of people. It's been that way for the last, I don't know, I've been in since I'm 41, 42. We've always basically been just weaponized and pointed at people. It is what it is, right? What I don't understand is why people want us to, like, at what point do you just say, fuck it? You know, when is my turn going to come? Right? We ought to be out of everybody's business. ICE is newly formed, right? That used to be our job. To be fair, we didn't have like an executive branch that could go. We didn't have an enforcement branch, at least not in U.S. soil. They took that from us, put that on. Well, basically, ICE is how it was formed, right? Now, I guess our DHS now is kicking your doors in and going after your house. How much more bullshit can you possibly want? I can understand why the women are frustrated, saying the economy's bad. They're coming at us all different ways. I feel unsafe. When a woman's sitting there saying, I feel unsafe, you would think that would be a priority. To me, it doesn't make any sense that form. The women are just going to follow. I don't think that's been happening. I think the last 15 years, the women have actually been dominating.
And then homeboy came up here thinking that we can be like weaponized on his behalf. Like, well, y'all say y'all the leaders, get out there. What type of man even speaks that way? This is why the women don't respect a lot of you now. Like, no, that shit that the black women used to do, sacrificing themselves and being on the front lines, history has a lot of times they've seen recently has not been beneficial for them, because when there are things that are specific to us that we care about, black men are not invested like that. They don't give a fuck. So that shit's over. I'm sorry. It is. Black women are not going to keep sacrificing themselves for a group of men who do not return a favor. No. I don't know if this is true, but this is DHS.gov news. It says the new milestone: over 2 million illegal aliens out of the United States in less than 250 days.
It is technically true. It's just it's what the illegal part is, right? Strangely enough, you can be a dual national and be illegal. I mean, there's all kinds of bullshit rules that are in there that just now started to get enforced. Some of this stuff goes back to the late 1970s, early 1980s, and they're just now being enforced. And so when people say, well, you know, I'm American. Yeah, well, half of you is American. The other half ain't, and that half is illegal. So you got to go. Like, they're going after everybody and everything. My question would be, at what point do you finally just say, okay, there's enough, we can stop going after people because you're next? Any minority group is going to fall into this. And if black people ain't a minority group, I don't know what the hell we've been complaining about.
So you're comparing.
So this is the foresight that I'm be talking about our community seems to lack, because we already seeing it, like what happened in Chicago and like what's happening in New York. It's not going to be, oh, we only focus on immigrants. No, that's not how that's going.
So the gentleman, Josh, you're
Yes,
saying
sir.
that if you are even so much as a minority, you stand a chance of being deported. Is that what you're
Not
saying?
me. I'm not a minority.
No, us, not deported
Oh,
per
yeah, yeah,
se,
yeah.
arrested.
At any given time, a minority group is what they call a political easy target. You're easy to pander to. You're easy to, because there's small problems, I guess, compared to the large picture of the United States. It politically easy to pander to. They're also easy to target.
So it doesn't even matter if you are as a minority, regardless if you're black, Indian, whatever.
Well, this is where I kind of tend to agree with Venus's prescription. You breed them out. That's how you deal with it. That's what we do. Well, we used to. We stopped doing that because apparently we have the just as bad child birth rates as you guys do, right? But yes, that's effectively what you do. You focus on the family. That's the only way you ever win any game.
No, see, we're not saying that we can be deported. When
Oh,
law enforcement is present, like what they were doing in Chicago, you'll just be arrested. You'll be other things just because they're there, right? And then they have to check everyone's documents, see what everybody's doing, right? Because that's how they figure it out.
Oh yeah, this is definitely the Third Reich all over again. Show me your papers is a real thing now.
so innocent people, innocent minorities who are naturalized in birth, even if they're black or whatever their nationality or ethnicity, they're being targeted not for deportations, which you're saying, but for other things that is, I guess, kind of like putting evidence on people in a way. Oh, you did something, we can't prove it,
Sure.
but you're going to. That's what you're saying
Yes.
is that.
Yes. Any felony that a person can find is up for grabs. So it wouldn't be
But
just
it's a felony. If it's a felony you got warrants, then it probably wouldn't be in anyone's best interest to have those things. Like if it's going to catch up to you, regardless of if it's a crime.
Do you know how easy it is to pick up a felony in the United States?
I don't know. I've never had one.
You should look up felony convictions within U.S. population.
Look that up now.
It's ugly.
So it's not a large number, but it says yes, people have been wrongfully deported, including U.S. citizens and individuals with legal status. Recent case involved U.S. citizens being deported due to errors where their claims of citizenship were ignored, and individuals with legal protections being deported due to administrative errors or flawed allegations.
Yeah, that's just fucking common. Every time you have a new system comes out, you got to work out the kinks, right? And every kink that exists, people fall through the cracks all the damn time.
I agree. I mean, it's still an issue with the prison. People get convicted wrongfully.
If we were talking like a large population, right? Or the largest group, let's just say white people, right? I think something like 64%. If a couple of them fell through the cracks, nobody really care, right? But once you get to a minority group, those numbers look a hell of a lot bigger. So if you had 14% of the population, I think is roughly what black people are, and you say, oh, well, we got 500,000 people that have been arrested arbitrarily for whatever tucked up reason that's out there, right? And even just say 100,000 of them got deported. That's a really bad number just because of per capita. That shit's got to hurt a reputation faster than hell.
And I love what Mel is saying. She just understands me. She said everyone does not have to do everything. So, and us delineating was never about kicking anyone out. Right. There are several issues that plague the Black community, and everyone can't do everything. So I don't think there's anything wrong with certain people focusing on certain issues simultaneously. Because just like any other group, we are not going to agree on every single thing, and that's okay. You do your part, let other people do their part.
That's a good assessment, actually. I like that one.
It's just true. They want to spend time arguing with me to convince me of something I don't support when there are other things that are beneficial for Black people that I do support. So I can fight for my cause, you fight for your cause. If it's all in benefit of the Black community, then great. How I feel. I don't know.
Is it about convincing you per se, or is it just kind of speaking to the topic itself? And then also them when they're speaking about these things, whether they agree with you or they agree with Jenna or with me or whoever. It's just about expressing their personal beliefs and convictions. And everyone sort of has most people, they're going to have some sort of bias, right? Um, and they're going to want to try to persuade someone else to come to their bias. They're not going to always be successful. Most of the time, you're not. But that's kind of in the sense what politics is. If the topic is going to be about FBA versus FBA, then that is the topic. So I don't know if it's directly targeted at you so much as it is. You're like the host. Well, you are the host, and there's other people listening who may have a difference of opinion because of something that you said or something that someone else said. And that's kind of the point in a way.
No, it became no, you I didn't stop any of you from expressing yourself, but when it becomes a circular conversation because you're trying to change my perspective, then yeah, it's about me now. When I keep on saying I'm not changing my position, I don't know how else to say it. I didn't stop you from giving yours. I'm not trying to change your mind on yours. The only people who aren't accepting in the scenario is the men, as always.
Yeah, I came up here to ride up on the concept. I thought her prescription was pretty much the ultimate prescription that pretty much any group of people has. Breed them out. So if you can't focus on family, I don't give a damn what you're doing. It's only going to last for, say, 10 years. We're going to come right back to this over something else in another 10 years. So if you can't actually focus on, I don't know, building families, I don't even know what good you are to a society.
Right. Why does that part get looked over? These are the same men who care so much about numbers now and population all of a sudden. Why weren't you having the foresight to understand that maybe we should care about marriage and marry our own? Like, miss me with the bullshit. All of a sudden, the black man's priority is population. The same people who do away with marriage, the same people who date out the most. Something ain't making no sense.
We date out the most? Oh.
Black men.
To me.
So the same men who do not prioritize marrying or dating their own women and the majority, but marriage, no. And out of all men who date out the most, you guys are at the top. Okay. Those men all of a sudden care about preservation of the population when your actions say the exact opposite. You don't marry in droves, okay? And you date out in droves and you procreate. Like, what are we talking about? That's what I mean. But you want the women to follow. Like, we don't see that. We see the shit. So it's like, this is not a group of people who are like really giving a fuck about this cause for real. Because if they were, everything else would be looking a lot different. The marriage rates would be looking different. The interracial dating would be looking different. A lot of things would be looking different if y'all truly gave a fuck about preserving black people or the black population. Y'all don't. That'd be the irritating shit. But then you'll try to go convince a woman to get on board with some bullshit. And women have had enough of that. We see through y'all now. Now we're going to analyze. There used to be a time where we used to just go for whatever y'all said, but y'all exploited the hell out of that situation. We see things for what they are, and now we have questions. And my questions are what I just said. You care about preserving the black population so bad, but you date out the most, right? But you don't marry, right? So stop the bullshit.
Well, I am a guest here, and this is a personal thing for you in terms of how you see black men, and perhaps you might have a point to it. If I can only speak from my experience, in that I have regretfully hated having to go outside of dating black women because of my numerous experiences in attempting to do so, even recently. But I won't go into details on it other than when I experience the different treatments that I get from outside or other ethnicities of women. There is oftentimes a night and day difference. And I hate that it's that way. So although it's easy to say that it's just our fault. Yes, there is some blame to place on us on some things, but yet we're not the ones aborting the children that will increase those populations that Josh speaks of when it comes to family. We're not that threat. I mean, I've had friends who would get with black women, marry them, and then have that child aborted. because they just didn't feel like doing it for one reason or another. They wasn't ready, regardless of what the husband wanted. So then they divorced. So then that man becomes traumatized. I've lived in a way vicariously through those black men, who are also they're my friends and people who are strangers. I'm in a barbershop. They talk about this thing. And it's
Man,
like, well,
sorry, but that is a very small number. It's a very small number of men who have these women just running off, deleting the kids that they just wanted so fucking bad. A lot of them did not want them kids. I'm just gonna be honest. And No Chaser's right. He says, this is also a problem with black men. They do not see what other black men do. This is why black women are no longer falling for the bullshit. You're not gonna pretend to be these people who care about the continuation of the black population, with all of the fucking fatherless homes, with all of the not being married, with all of the dating out. What did you just say? Yeah, I date other women and the treatment's better. Whatever the fuck you want to tell yourself. At the end of the day, you are the same man who would say that, right? Like, what your preference is outside where you want to go, can't be the same man telling me about how he cares so much about the rest of black families and people. It does not make sense.
I never said it was my preference. I said I regretfully had to go because I'm not going to just be like, well, I'm keep trying, and then, well, after 8 or 10 tries, then you go and try this one thing and say, oh, if of course my bias is going to be, well, this is where I had the positive experiences, this is where I'm going to go. But initially, for every black man I know, it starts off with them dating black women and them having these different issues. Again, that's just one, and I'm personally not going to go there because I mean, you kind of went into how black men this, black men that, and that's fine. I don't take it personally because it's not that I don't see black men issues, but it's um I personally don't feel the need to say black women this, black women this. This is why black men do this. This is why they. I don't. It's not
Well,
going
you
to solve
kind
any
of did. Why did you
problem.
bring up child deletions? You kind of did.
Well, I only brought it up as one example because you brought up multiple examples of how black men are failures in the community. And I said, okay. And I even gave it to you. I said, you probably do have a fair point. Most likely you do. I've seen black fathers growing up not being present. I just seen the destruction of what goes on behind the scenes as to why these men sometimes leave the home or why they would have a child with a woman and then they have these issues that I experienced without even having to get a woman pregnant. I said, oh, I would just personally choose not to engage with this woman, knowing that if I have a child with this woman, it's going to lead to greater problems in the future. Some men, they think with their dicks and they see these problems and then they have these children and then they don't want the children anymore because it's associated to the mother. And then the easy connection is, well, see, the black man is the problem, right? He's leaving the home. But it's actually both of the problems. It's him not controlling his dick. It's the woman deciding that she's going to be who she's going to be and the man accepting it for that period of time until it's not convenient for him. So I take the position that they're both in error in a lot of different ways. I'm not as biased in terms of my I guess position on it.
Well, I'm biased as shit. I'll be the first one to admit I am biased as hell, right? I don't believe women should be sitting at the table. But unfortunately, if we don't allow women to sit at the damn table, you know that the women's still going to win regardless. Just by the nature of, say, MAGTOW, men going their own way, that whole movement, right? If men actually pulled that bullshit off, I don't think they're capable, but if they actually pulled that bullshit off, the women's still going to have the greatest influence on the kids. And those kids are eventually going to make its way into legislation, AKA the single moms now running the country. Yes, it's a generation later, but it's still not us. It ain't our legacy. It ain't any of our doctrines. It's not any of our beliefs. It's theirs. So we have no choice but to work with them. So the question would be, if the complaint was, or as the example was, women deleting babies, it would the conversation should be how to keep the women from deleting the babies. That would be the thing, is how do you calm a woman down for that? Well, it sounds like the last 3 generations, us men got real damn lazy. And so what? Women have attitude. Big freaking deal. My mom got attitude. My grandma got attitude. Why wouldn't it seem obvious that my old lady would not have attitude? Yes.
Yeah, I think some men in our community are a bit delusional on what they think Like, I don't know, but either way.
See, I don't like the blame game going back on the women, because at the end of the day, the moment that the blame starts, right, it's conceding the point that the women are in charge. Well, if the women are in charge, well, fuck it. What do we do? That would be my qualm instantly.
There's agency, right? And then there's a level of freedoms in this country that women have that they don't have in most other places of the world. So they have the agency, they can vote, they can do all these. I mean, they can get almost any career that they want, except the ones they don't want, which is more labor intensive or whatever. So they have agency, and so yeah, they're gonna have a seat at the table. I mean, just by the fact that they can vote, that in itself, that's your seat at the table. You have the power to vote, I have a seat. Or you have the power to be in politics and be at the head of state in some level, you have a seat. So that's just what it is. You can't not include them, at least not in American society.
So we know that, Joe. So his question to you was, what can you do to keep, or I guess what, since Black men care about child deletion so much, when I know for a fact majority of you do not, but let's play along with that. What can they do to prevent women from doing that? What can they do?
So what can a man do, a black man do to prevent black women from child abuse? Well, because you have agency, there's nothing a man can do. If a woman, now if you want to say, well, he has to be, she has to make her feel secure. I would agree with that, right? To make her feel like he can be there to protect her, provide for her and the child. He's not going to beat her, abuse her, anything like that. I would absolutely agree with that. But then it's still in the woman's choice to decide if she wants to keep the child or not, regardless if he's in the conversation. He can make a woman feel these things, feel comfortable, and he can keep the child. Then it's not going to happen.
Where's this large group of Black men who did that, and then the women still went and just got rid of the babies? Can you point me to it?
I mean, I can't point you to it directly, but I would say there's, at least for my own personal experiences in how it's been going on, which is limited. It's not going to be this wide range of things. But then I go online and say, well, is this common, or is this something that I'm just experiencing? So I would just go online and I look personally for both sides, not just from the man's point of view, but also the woman's point of view. You know, why are they doing certain things? People will tell you a lot about themselves because they want to be seen on TikTok, social media, and I browse and I look at clips from here and there. I say, oh, okay, and I just kind of get a general overview of the reasons why certain things happen. Obviously, I'm not going to know everything because that person might be deceptive. That person might not be telling the whole truth. That person's probably only telling their side of the story, and that's fine. But it goes on both sides. I can just look at from what I've seen personally in experiences and people I know and talk to, the Black men I speak to, even from their perspective.
So this is why Black women are going to have a hard time following men like you, because your answer was, "There's nothing I can do."
I didn't say that.
That's literally what you said. So what can you do? You said there's nothing I can do. That's what you said. You said even you went into, even if we made them feel comfortable, did that, we still can't stop them. So you already have a defeated, there's nothing I can do mindset, but you want women to fucking follow and respect that. No, they won't.
Well, so you have to help me make sense of this. If there's laws in place that allows you to do anything you would want to do to a child before it's born, then no matter what my mindset is, I can say, well, my mindset is on families. My mindset is on being there to protect a woman and child. My mindset can be anything it wants to be. But I'm saying that if a woman simply does not want the child, it doesn't matter what my mindset is. It can be just a selfish reason. It can be, well, I know you want a kid, I don't want one. It can be whatever reason she wants it to be. So then it would have to be me trying to convince her not to do it, which is crazy. So I don't have a vote saying it lawfully. I just don't. No man does.
That's insane. A man of intent could easily say, I'm going to prioritize marriage. I'm going to fucking not stick my dick carelessly everywhere. Like, there's so many answers, but the fact that you guys' first thought is, well, there's nothing I can do, but you want respect and you want people to follow you. Like, that is fucking crazy. It don't work like that.
The first thing I said was family, which would, if family would entail.
That's not family, and there's nothing I can do. Don't go together. That's not what you said. Like, I don't need to lie on you. You
I'm
double down on there's nothing I can do.
well, lawfully. So meaning that no matter, even if I marry you, even if I give you all these feelings of protection, there's you could still lawfully, legally decide. Well, yeah, he married me. Yeah, he did this. Yeah, he did this. But I don't want to. And I've seen this happen. If
Okay.
you marry,
Let's concede that point.
I still don't want the child.
Based on the marriage rates in this country, do you think most of those child deletion rates are a product of people who are not married or people who are married? Which one?
Oh, it would be not married for sure.
Okay, so then why are we? Why I don't understand.
Well, you're asking for a solution. I would say that the solution for is to marry the black woman. Then it's a two for. She would also have to agree to be married. But again, I get that it's easier to say, well, if their men are not, they're not marrying this woman. Well, we also don't know for sure if these men, if they're asking to marry this woman, that if the woman is accepting it. Oh, that's fiance number two, number three. I'll just wait, or I don't want to marry this guy. So we don't know the dynamics. So we're just assuming that the man is not asking for marriage at all. We're making a lot of these assumptions.
No, for a fact, the men are not asking for marriage at all. They get up on the internet every day and tell you how much they don't want marriage at all. The reason the conversation is directed toward men because men are the ones who get the ring and propose.
Yeah, men are ultimate. Women control the access to sex. Men control the access to relationships.
It ain't hard. Like I don't understand.
Yeah, we propose, but you also have the agency to reject it.
So that would entail what the problem is if here, just think of it like this concept. Imagine a situation where you and your girlfriend, not married yet, right? Like before that, she's pregnant, right? And she's just irate. I don't know. She's crazy. What are you going to call it? Flat out? She's crazy. She's concerned about everything. Then try to figure out how the hell do you stop her from going for an abortion? Does that require marriage? A better answer or a better way to phrase the question would be, what would you do for your own child? Would you beg, cheat, steal, lie, kill, die, whatever, right? That's the mentality that's supposed to exist. The fuck the law. Who gives a shit? Is somebody's threatening my kid, right? I don't give a damn about laws. I want my kid to survive because that's effectively me. That's the only thing that carries me on is that kid. That's effectively what the question really boils down to is what are we willing to do? And we can never concede the idea that, well, just fuck it. That can never happen.
That is the mentality that plagues this community. But then people want people to follow and respect them, and they don't stand on nothing. That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. If you're not gonna the group of men, because yes, to his point, people can delete children no matter whether they're married, single, or whatever. But these are the facts that we do have. Most of the deletions are not coming from married women. They're coming from the single ones, right? So these men who claim they care so much about the deletion of children are not marrying in droves, are they? Putting kids and people in droves too that can be deleted. That's what we do see. So I'm just saying, like a lot of what you guys claim you stand for, the behavior don't never match up. It sounds good though. Because if you didn't want to marry, you could also never give women your sperm. You could also do that. There's so many things you can do if you really wanted to, if you really cared so much about it.
True. And I spoke about sexual discipline amongst men. It needs to be stronger. I'm one of the people I preach about it. I tell other men about it, especially younger. They're going to take on it a lot easier. And they find it difficult at first, but telling them, teaching things that they should have learned from their father, that I learned from my father, right? The importance of keeping your seed and being intentional with who you choose to date and not just looking to get a nut off, which is what a lot of men choose to do. I will agree. Again, it's to the tango. Yes, men will lead the charge and persuade a woman with this gift of gab. And, oh, you look so good and all that, and get her in the bed. But yet, it's still she's yielding to that. So it's not. Yes, we are to blame to that extent that we're leading the charge in that. then also the agency actually comes. Where is that? Well, you can also choose not. Oh, you're not going to marry me. We're not going to have sex. I know quite a few women who do that, and I respect them for it. Oh, I'm waiting until I have a committed relationship before I do it, regardless of how much I might want to push for it. Okay, cool. So a lot of
So
men will push for things just to see how
then,
far we'll go, and if
the
we'll get it, they're not going to complain about it.
no, this is the problem. Who's complaining about the child deletion rates? Is it men or women? Please answer that simply. Who's complaining about the child deletion rates? Is it black men or black women? Who's always having those talking points? Who is it?
I was always having those thoughts.
Huh?
Want to say from talking to both black women in real life, it's both. Just depends on their mindset.
All right,
I
I
don't know.
can't do the fucking disingenuous shit. You,
It's
black man, just came up here and said it. Every time someone says it on here, 9 times out of 10, it is a black man. So that's why my rhetoric is directed to the black man. You came up here and said it.
Okay, well, that makes sense if that's your.
So if
I don't have no.
so if it's an issue for you, black man, that women are deleting children, the attention is focused on what you can do, because you're right. You can't really stop her. What can you do?
I said that. And Josh, he elaborated on it. That's the best. As you say, you would fight to the death, as you would say. You fight to the death to make sure that she has everything she needs, that she's comfortable, that she's safe, that she's happy, which would include marriage. Ideally, before the woman gets knocked up. That's not always the case, but hey, if it's midterm, okay, shotgun marriage, cool. Just to make sure put a ring on it. Make sure I'm going to be there for you and the baby. So it lessens the potential of a woman deciding, I don't feel comfortable enough bringing this child into the world if I'm going to do it alone, which I think is a crime. So that's the best we can do. But again, the agency is still there, for a woman to, for whatever reason she may have, not to follow through on that. But the argument can be made that if more black men did what I suggested, what Josh suggested, what you're suggesting, then perhaps the abortion rates will go down. There's a stronger chance that it would. The marriage rates will obviously go up too, and it will have more families as well. In the same way that I was fortunate to have the family that I had, growing up with both mother and father, biologically, in the home. So that's what we can do. That's what we
Okay,
can
can you make your points a little shorter? You kind of go long-winded. Like,
well,
just want you to like sum it up quicker, if you can.
some of the quicker. By the time I finished, you made that comment, and I was done.
Okay.
I kind of see how that goes. So.
So I'm about to end the show. So if you have any final words, you can like go ahead and say them before I drop you.
I'm getting like a lot of animosity. So I'll drop myself. Have a great night.
Yeah, because
Damn,
I am
I got the
aggravated.
final words.
What's the final words?
Single moms kicking our ass. Whether we actually want to admit to it or not, single moms kicking our ass. No matter what we do, we can't take away their right to vote, right? And expect them not to have like male children that don't inevitably become roles in government, and puts it right. I mean, obviously they're going to keep their mom in the back of their mind, right? So when they get into legislation, they're going to do what the hell they want to do. We've lost. I don't see any way of turning this around. I've said this twice now, and I still cannot find a way around it. Single moms kicking our ass. Plain and simple.
All right. Well, thank you, Joshua. I'm going to drop you so I can talk to the people for a minute. Appreciate you coming up. Pumps and Bumps says, always putting the accountability on someone else. Sexual discipline that wasn't taught by their fathers. Their fathers probably didn't teach him, even if the father did, still didn't take accountability. And he said he sensed animosity, and that is why. Like, I ran out of patience with grown men who do not take responsibility for themselves. I really don't have no patience or tolerance for it. Grown men who want to point at women all day to fix issues. I have no patience, no tolerance, no respect for it. Until men can get the courage to correct themselves and each other, we don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. I'm sorry. If you're not going to control yourself sexually or talk to your peers about that or encourage them to marry women instead of just recklessly having sex everywhere, then do not skip all the way over them to come talk to us. We don't want to hear that shit no more. It's annoying, it's irritating. You guys don't take responsibility for anything. And it's exhausting trying to get people to take responsibility. I've been saying this for the last few days. Like, the reason I'm hyper focused on women at this point is because I've been in a space for years, like talking to you guys in this willfully obtuse shit you do. Like, you see how hard it was for him to answer that question. I just said, out of black men and black women, who's raising the issue the most about child deletion? Everybody knows it's black men, but do you see how difficult it was to get an answer? Personally, for someone like me, that is very I don't like communicating with people who are just dishonest, just can't be honest about simple shit. It like feels like a waste of my time and my energy, and it's annoying and it's not productive. If you want to be delusional, cool, be there by yourself. I want to speak to people who are honest. I'm honest. So all of this, we want to point the fingers to the black women about everything. We want black women to step up and handle all the black issues. Get the fuck out of here. Black women are exhausted, aggravated, annoyed, done with it. Seeing right through the bullshit. Because y'all done did it and said it too much. Nobody's going no more. If you guys corrected your own selves and carried yourselves the way you should, the women would follow, because that's what women do. You're reckless. You didn't give a fuck about marriage. So then all of a sudden, black women don't even care about marriage no more. They wasn't always like that. How'd they get like that? So you want to skip over the main important part, which is yourself, and point the finger to everyone else to correct. You need to correct you first. Then when you come and tell one of us some shit, we can respect what you're saying, because we're like, damn, look at what they're doing. But you want to skip over, like they have this thing where they're so afraid of each other. It's very cowardice. They can't even verbally tell each other that some shit is wrong. And you think the women are not observing you? We see it. We see a bunch of scared people who don't take responsibility for anything, who don't want to inconvenience themselves in any little way for anybody else, who are selfish, right? Who are entitled, who lean on women way too fucking much. We see you. Nobody's respecting that. People who can't be honest. Shit's annoying. What you ain't about to come convince me of shit? My brain work right. Look, no chaser, a black man. He's tired of y'all. He said, I'm fatigued with the bullshit. Yeah. It's like they've been telling lies on this internet so long that they convince some people, but they think they're going to convince all people. Some of us got our head on straight. For example, I don't care how many times you say a woman didn't make me put a condom on. My brain's never going to go to that woman. It's still going to go back to why the fuck did somebody have to? Why does somebody have to tell you, grown ass man, with full agency over your own body, why does anyone have to tell you to put a condom on? That shit ain't gonna never make sense. I don't care how many of you say it. It does not make sense. And y'all think if enough of y'all say it, y'all gonna brainwash the masses. You ain't brainwashing me with that shit. That's dumb. Yes, no chaser. That dude did just say the women needs to be out there. I need to be out there with ice. The fuck? What I look like? Anyway, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I gotta go. Have a good day. I might be back tonight. I don't know yet, but I'll try. Bye, y'all. Like the video for me, please.